Yeah, he has joined. He has joined.
Good evening, Chairman sir.
Good evening, Ravati ma'am. Good evening, Master. Very good evening, Pankaj sir. Good evening, Deepak and Secretary.
So the total number of registrations now is around 200.
Pardon, madam?
Total number of registrations.
Yes, madam.
It is 200 nearby.
So Hyderabad branch is managing to bring in so many people. That's nice.
With all your support and your Vice Chairman support, ma'am.
Yeah.
The fantastic support by our Vice Chairman Mastan Garu, and
he will bring everyone from all over India. Next month, if we do, he'll bring world over also.
That's for sure, ma'am.
He'll bring us international participants.
Yes.
Welcome, ACS.
Even the FERA program, which is being done by SRC, is shaping very well.
Yes.
But I've been a participant. Yesterday's speaker was terrific.
Okay.
Yes. I was there yesterday.
I just joined 3 minutes late yesterday. Then closing was done by Pannaraj, sir.
Panras, myself as introduced speaker.
Oh, I joined just, I think, at 4:07. I was with someone talking.
Okay.
I think we are 2 minutes to go. I hope all of us are clear.
The SRC is going more than 450 members.
Madam, I'm very much happy to share a lot of seniors member has joined, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Senior members, in fact, our past Central Council member J. Venkateshlu sir also joined this program.
Oh, good. Very nice. Now you're stressing me out a little. I'll go incognito on this. I think we have this double CPE also, no? So that is also a motivating factor for many people. Because getting CPE for both IBBI as well as for the institute is...
Both we have, ma'am. That's
we have. In fact, yesterday I had shared the screenshot of the triple IP CPE requirements where it says you can take.
Okay.
Chairman sir?
Yes, Satish Garu.
With your permission, should I start at 4 o'clock?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah, please.
What about Daya, sir?
Yes, sir, not yet joined, sir.
Not reachable, actually.
No, you
let
start the
boss.
program. Don't worry. You start the program. Don't delay.
Good, sir. Yeah, good evening and welcome to everyone for this 6-day virtual refresher course on insolvency and bankruptcy course organized by Hyderabad branch of SIRCF ICI through this Zoom platform. I welcome Chairman Hyderabad branch C.A. Machara Menavalli, Vice Chairman Deepak Bhai Ladda, Sikasa Chairman Chanchita Reddy Garu, and our immediate past Chairman C.A. Pankaj Bhai Trivedi. Welcome again, Chairman sir. Now in his absentia, I welcome C.A. Changal Reddy Garu. I welcome Naresh Chandragelli Garu, Sikasa Chairman from SIRC. Naresh sir also not yet joined, sir, actually. I welcome Ravati Raghunathan Garu, Treasurer SIRC of ICA. I welcome C.A. Chinmastan Talkaila, Vice Chairman SIRC. I welcome C.A. Dayaneva Sirma, Central Council Member, in his absentia. Before ending of the session, I welcome Machara sir once again and requesting you to give overview of this program, please.
Yeah, thank you, Satish. Thank you so much. So, respected senior members and professional colleagues and regional council members, Ravati ma'am, Mastan Garu, and Ravati ma'am, land speaker of the day, and the designer instrumental for designing this entire program, both the SIRC members. Thank you so much, and warm welcome and good evening to you all. On behalf of the Managing Committee of Hyderabad branch of SIRC of ICI, it's a very happy occasion for me to welcome you all for 6 days refresher course on insolvency and bankruptcy course. This refresher course is designed to help the insolvency exam aspirants, not only as exam aspirants, but also refresher course for the insolvency professionals who are already doing insolvency profession. Hyderabad branch has come up with this unique program so that our professional brethren can catch up the various nuances of insolvency and bankruptcy code, which is a dynamic and a decisive legislation which transforms the entire credit debt resolution process in India. The program is organized as a refresher course. The focus is more subject oriented and insights on various practical aspects of this code. As I told you, Revati Mem and Masan sir is instrumental who has designed this entire program, both the mixing for an examination aspirants and for insolvency professions. Friends, insolvency and bankruptcy code is one such law which has been subject to various significant changes with an objective of bringing equity in law and to plug up various loopholes in the law. As discussed in the earlier forums also, a lot of senior people are saying that its law is still emerging. The example is some of the cases, NCLT is giving one decision and later on NCLAT is changing the decision. And some more cases, Supreme Court is hearing differently on these aspects of the law. That's what law is still emerging. So I request all the participants try to understand what is the mindset or intention of the legislature while drafting this law. That will help us to learn the more and more aspects of an IBC code. As an insolvency professional, I have felt that we need to understand the expectation from various stakeholders and we need to gear up to meet the challenges ahead. We are all aware that IBC was promulgated to bring clear and transparent debt resolution process, also consolidating various other debt laws. For example, that's what my basic question in my first class, I asked Anita ma'am, Madam, what is the difference between code and act? Then I understood that the IBC code is such a manner, it is designed in such a manner. They brought in various laws into single umbrella so that debt resolution process will be very easy and needs up to the dates of changes of the Indian economy. Friends, prior to the announcement of insolvency IBC code, the legal institutional mechanism for dealing with financial stress and default had not been with the changes regarding as per the changes of an Indian economy. The recovery action by creditors, either they are going Indian Contract Act or SURFACE, which are not yield desired outcomes. Similarly, Sikh Industrial Act and recovery through various laws like the Companies Act winding up provisions, which are all not helped us up to the mark. They hampered the confidence of entrepreneurs and also the lenders. Consequently, the availability of the credit in the market is hampered. The IBC code is helped a lot to give a lot of support to the lenders. At the same time, availability of the credit in the market is very good. With this, I'm confident that 6-day program would help us in enriching the knowledge to meet our requirements as resource personnel, very good knowledge, and they're sharing expertise and experience, which will be helpful in understanding the shades of this regulation. With this, once again, request all the delegates and all the speakers, learned speakers of the entire 6-day program, and thank you so much for accepting as a speakers and being with us, sharing their knowledge. And also thank all the delegates for actively joining and participating with us. Thank you so much. Over to Satish.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, sir. We're recognizing the presence of C.A. Ridesh Mittal, one of the speakers for this 6-day course. Now I'm requesting C.A. Revati Raghunathan Madam, the Treasurer SIRFSA, to address the delegates, please.
Sorry, I have to give my address.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Just inaugural address.
Okay. Thank you. So, good evening to all the dignitaries on the cyber dais, my colleagues in the regional council and the colleagues in the Hyderabad branch who have honored me by inviting me to participate in this program and also now give this address. I think that this is the right time that this course has been structured and introduced by the Hyderabad branch, because all of us will be most of us are free from this rigors of the bank audit, especially doing it online and in the COVID pandemic situation, what we are going to do. So when we are relaxing, it is time for us to take on a new subject, a new topic, equip ourselves to prepare for the examination and clear it, because this is one of the emerging areas of practice for the professionals like us. And now that, even though there is talk of the code being suspended for some more time, we should actually keep ourselves actively engaged in accumulating knowledge, reading about the pre-pack, because once a pre-pack is in place, then we will have the individuals and partnerships also coming in. A whole new gamut of opportunities are going to be opened up to professionals like us. And I'm not selfish when I say that chartered accountants are the best people to practice this profession better than the other sister professionals that we have, because ultimately accounts and finance is one of the basic reasons why particular corporate data goes into liquidation or goes into CIRP, and invariably other professionals are not equipped so well to deal with the financial truancy of the corporate data. So we are the best people to do this. And as more and more chartered accountants come, there are only around 3,000 and odd insolvency professionals in the country, and only around 1,800 to 2,000 people are chartered accountants. Like the economy needs chartered accountants, the economy also needs IPs who have a base of chartered accountancy. So I think that we've taken this in the right manner, and 6 days, all the speakers are going to cover all the topics which is exam oriented. I think we will be covering exam oriented only, because we want more people to take up the exam and clear it. And let me say that it's quite easy to clear the examination, like all the others who have cleared will agree with me. So all the best, everyone, and thank you very much, sir, for asking me to talk. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Ravati madam. Now I am requesting Vice Chairman SIRC CA Chinmastan Kalakaila to address the delegates, please.
Respected CCM from Hyderabad, Dayashinivas Sharmaji, who is joined shortly. And first CCM from Hyderabad, J. Venkateswaru sir, who joined as a participant. The chairman of Hyderabad branch, Macharao Meenavalli, my regional council colleagues, and the speaker in IBC, and the treasurer of SIRC, Madam Revati Raghunandan, and secretary of Hyderabad branch, Satish Kumar, vice chairman Deepak Ladda, and Sikasa chairman ACS Reddy, first chairman Pankaj Trivedi, and first SRC member and speaker of this program, Ritesh Mittal. My dear members and friends, very good evening. Heartily welcome to you all for this 6 days refresh course on insolvency and bankruptcy code organized by the Hyderabad branch of SRC. Dear members, it has been 5 years since insolvency and bankruptcy was implemented in India. The code considered as a one-stop solution for resolving insolvency issues, which previously was a long process that did not offer economically viable arrangements. The code aims to protect interest of the workers, employees, and investors, including that bankers, and make the process of resolution of several financial issues in very strict and time-bound manner. I remember at the time of introduction, most of the CA practitioners thought it's going to be a good avenue for practice. But at the same time, as the saying goes, like every coin have two sides, this offer one side very nice career, including the professional fee, and other side having strict code of conduct, which taking right on the profession for even small mistake from the professional member. Given the importance to the code by the government as well as the stakeholders, this kind of attention from the regulatory is really warranted for sure. Considering the complications and the issues involved in the code, and by day amendments in several laws, which is the part of the curriculum of IB by exam, it is a good idea for organizing this kind of refresh seminars for the benefit of the members, particularly for the, as Madam expressed, in the exam oriented members. In general, feeling of these our professional paternity, particularly who passed this insolvency exam, not getting that professional opportunities equally to these members who are eligible. It's partly true, but after applicability of IPC to the individuals and as well as the firms, definitely it will be a decentralized opportunity to all the members. Dear members, as we are the chartered accountants, we wrote the exams in descriptive manner, and also we have extreme capability to try to attempt every question, especially in the CA exams. This is the biggest advantage for the CA exams. At the same times, it is also biggest disadvantage for the IBBA online exams, including the insolvency and valuation exam. Most of the CAs are not passing the first 1 or 2 attempts. The reason we have that enough knowledge, but habit of attempting every question is giving that different results. You know, every wrong answer having 25% of negative marks. If I want to tell in depth, if you attempt, for example, if you attempt 10 marks in the CA exams, which you do not have that, don't know that answer, the valuer in the exams may give 1 or 2 marks or no marks also. But in the IBB exams, you definitely will get minus 2.5 marks out of the positive marks. So members, to pass this IBB exams, preparation is the one side. The other side is most importantly, which questions not to attempt. This is also more than exam preparations. So suggestion from the most of the experts in this field, in exams attempt the 85 marks, leave the 15 marks. But which one not to attempt is the real talent of the candidate. So that's one more suggestions of the same experts. Out of the 4 multiple choice, if you have the confident 2 answers have relevant and 2 answers are not relevant, you should attempt the questions. Otherwise, you leave completely the questions. Members, with my experience in the exam room, don't sit in the exam hall more than 1 hour 40 minutes out of the 2 hours. If you sit in the exam hall beyond this, definitely we'll attempt unknown questions. Result will more chance to be failed. So dear members, for your information, for this, whatever the suggestion I expressed as of now, for your get the better experience in the exams, few private websites are providing mock exams in the online, and my suggestion, you subscribe for that and write the exams whenever you feel, whenever you have the time, either in the office or the home, and you identify that wrong answer and note that and prepare for the revision. Definitely the exams might be very simple exams. Members, the Revati madam and the other speakers will explain the professional opportunities and in depth how to prepare and how to pass, including the Ritesh Mittal will explain the due course on the next 4 or 5 days. Members, the Hyderabad branch has always been in forefront and proactive to offer the best service to the members, in particularly in the COVID time. My congratulations to the entire team of Hyderabad branch. Finally, I once again appeal to all the fraternity. The COVID virus is taking control of the human life in these days in the second wave. I request every member to take all the preventive steps, including home and office, and dare to be a step out only in case of having very, very emergency work. My best wishes, all the best for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chinmastan Garu, for your valuable address. Chairman sir, with your permission, we are supposed to start the session. Should we? Daya sir also, I think it is taking time something.
Yeah, thank you. Before that, we recognize the presence of Ritesh Mittal
Yeah.
sir, who is a speaker. And who is
Now I am requesting Deepak Bhai Ladda, Vice Chairman of our branch, to introduce today's speaker, CA Revati Madam, please.
Thank you, Satish sir. Good evening, everyone. And it is my immense pleasure to introduce the speaker of the day, CA Revati Raghunandan, Treasurer SIRC for the year 21-22 before the August audience. She is an FCA, CISA, CSTM, IP, and FAFD qualified. She is a senior partner at ARCO and Company Chartered Accountants with having more than 25 years of experience in practice, consulting, and teaching. She is also qualified independent director and empaneled with IICA. She has addressed on IBC matters on various forums, and she has also co-authored the book Finance and Facilities for Exporters. She is also a regular writer for various professional magazines. She has been technical reviewer on the Shield panel of a subcommittee of the Research Committee of ICAI for the review of annual reports and other documents for excellence in financial reporting. She is a visiting professor for direct and indirect taxes at Indo-German Training Center and also faculty for direct and indirect taxes with MSME. She has also held jury of the Abirami Small Budget Film Awards for 2 years. She is also chairperson of the Committee of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code and Valuation Standards and Committee on Capital Markets and Investor Protection of SIRC for the year 21-22. She is the managing committee member of the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. She is the chairperson of the Committee of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code and Valuation Standards and CPE Committee member Regional Audit Committee of SIRC for the year 2021. She has served as a chairperson of SICASA and Students Committee of the SIRC for the year 2019-20 and also member of the Managing Committee of the Society of Auditors for the year 2017-18. With this, I present before the August audience, C. Revati Raghunandan. Over to the Secretary. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Deepak Bhai. Revati Madam, now it's your time to address the members to take forward questions.
No, Chairman sir, with the madam permission, can you give the 2 minutes to Naresh Gali? I think he is also joined.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, join me.
Naresh, sir.
Okay, let you go. You go ahead. Madam, please continue.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, good evening once again to everyone. And again, thanks a lot to Hyderabad branch for enabling this particular program. I also want to say hello to Ritesh Mittal faculty who will be joining us tomorrow. I would just like to clarify a couple of things first. One is that this program is going to be wholly exam oriented because our intention is to ensure that everyone who attends this course with the intention of taking the examination is able to clear it. And, as faculty, we will all ensure that we deliver the subjects in such a manner that you're all able to clear it at the first shot. And let me tell you, when we share our experiences, we will share it in the hope that you will not make the mistakes that we have made. And you will definitely be able to clear this exam in the first shot because one, it is only an MCQ examination. And like how our Vice Chairman, Mr. Chinna said, don't spend too much of time on the hot seat there. Because there is one thing when you take this exam, you either know the answer or you don't know the answer. So whatever you don't know, accept that you don't know it, because we can't write, this is not a paper in which you're going to write pages, you're just going to click the right answer. So click the right answer, you don't know the answer, don't feel bad, because if you leave a question, you're only going to lose 1 mark. But if you're going to click the wrong answer, you're going to have a negative marking added to that. So your exam is going to be, I would say, around 90% of your knowledge and 10% presence of mind and confidence in accepting that you may not be knowing some of the answers. And yes, I am bold enough to leave it. I am confident of the answers which I have answered correctly. Ensure that you are answering at least around 75 to 80% of the answers, and you will be, definitely in the exam we will make a few mistakes, but it's only a 60% pass. So you have an adequate gap of 25 marks in which you can clear the exam after losing out a few marks. So I will straight away go ahead. We all can I share the screen? Yeah. I'm getting a screen which says who can share, who can start sharing when someone else is sharing. What should I do here? I have put all panelists.
Hello.
You want to give share screen option to some other madam?
No. When I put, can you see the screen now?
Yeah, it is there.
Please make it bigger.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So before I start off, I just want to tell you.
Madam, can you make it big, ma'am, please? Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you make it bigger?
Yeah. I will. I'll do the slideshow.
Slideshow, yeah.
Yeah. So we all will, would have heard of. I just want to say, actually, our Vice Chairman, sir, has already spoken a little about how the insolvency came in. Insolvency came in, why it is a code and why it is an act. A code is something like which subsumes a number of acts. I'm using subsume as an adjective here. It has subsumed a number of other acts which were there earlier, and because of the failure of those acts in resolving defaults and resolving conflicts. So this code was brought in 2016, and this code is actually moving the basic tenets of a resolution from a debtor in control to a creditor in possession. This is something which we have to basically understand. When I would suggest that people who are preparing for the examination now go through the BLRC report, just glance through it. It's quite big. It's available on the IBC website also. It will go from there, it will talk about the movement of the control, because in our country we don't have, it's only the public money which is being used or misused, I would say, and that is the reason why there have been many such insolvency cases. So what happens is, in the traditional forms of resolution, the debtor, who is the borrower, retained the control of the corporate in his own hands. The person who lent the money, the lender, did not have any control over the funds which he had advanced, as well as over the corporate in itself. So what happened is, at any point in time, when the debtor was when the company, whoever, or the borrower was, failing, the only way in which a lender could actually lend a helping hand was either by advancing more money or in some other form of financing. So what happened? The control did not at all move. So this particular act was brought in by the BLRC committee. You can see the stretch from the Narasimhan committee, the BLRC, the how all the various acts were repealed, and finally the Insolvency Act was brought in. IBC was brought in. And what is even more interesting is that the law is still evolving. And in this pandemic situation, the law has been put on hold. suspended for some time, and then again reopened. But now again, the suspension may be happening again. That is what we are reading. So this entire thing, and now we have got this major ordinance which came almost a month back, the pre-pack for MSMEs, where the government is so serious about utilizing the code as a mechanism for the MSMEs to stay in business even in the pandemic situation. So the pre-pack was also brought in, and we are expecting the individuals and partnerships to also be notified. So before I start, I just want to tell you, I have downloaded the basic structure of my presentation from the learning management system on the IIIP of ICAI website, and I have made the changes according to whatever are the latest amendments and for my own convenience. So this, actually my presentation, you can use it to anchor your preparation along with the LMS website, because ultimately we all need some material apart from the code. Go through the learning management system in the IIIP of ICAI website, where there are presentations on each topic along with mock examinations. Chinna sir was talking to you about the mock examinations. You can start off with the material in this website and the mock exams at the end of each presentation. Okay, so before we go deep into the topic, what is the syllabus for the examination? You have the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. From 1st January, the entire marking and weightage has been changed. IBC, the whole code is 255 sections, rules and regulations is 15. So you have only 25 marks actually lifted from the code and the regulations. Apart from that, you have the case laws. Then you have the case study. Case study is one of the most important questions in the examination. Case study is based on the code and the rules and regulations. So you should understand that rules and code is not limited to 25 marks, but it is 20 marks including CIRP. Then you have a case analysis on individual insolvency and bankruptcy. Again, you have another 8 marks added. Then again, you have firms and LLP 6 marks. And then this new thing which they are bringing in, business and professional ethics. This is a comprehension question. This is actually a new topic in itself. This shows the amount of importance that the regulator IBPI is placing on the professional ethics of the professionals who are practicing this code. In fact, I would suggest you all go through the IBPI website. There will be every day the cases which are judged upon will be posted there. You will see there are innumerable cases on the business and professional ethics, the cases, the disciplinary mechanisms which have been taken on the professionals. So once this case study has been introduced, we will all definitely prepare in depth about, we will read the code of ethics, what is expected out of us as professionals, what are the compliances which we are going to make. Because I tell you, when I prepared for the examination, I went through the regulations, I went through the code of ethics, I went through everything. But this one-to-one relating between the actual code, the regulations, and the impact it is going to have on me as a professional for having complied with or not having complied with. So, you know, this, when you come into practice, it's going to play a huge role on the way that we are going to practice and the way that IBBI and IIIP are going to view our the way we have conducted our cases. Then you have the other laws. You have the Companies Act, the Contract Act, Finance and Accounts, and the General Awareness. This ninth one is a number of acts, MSME, RERA, SCRA, all these arbitration and conciliation, these have all been introduced for this examination, PMLA. So all these have a direct impact on the way that the insolvency profession is being practiced. Apart from that, we have these 5 marks, which for all of us is going to be a cakewalk, and the general awareness. Go through this even in the IBPI website. I've taken it from there. ensure that, general awareness, they'll ask you questions from anywhere. So this 5 marks is one thing which we will not be able to answer. But if you do this 25 marks preparation of the code and the 1 minute, I'll just do the laser pointer. So if you do this 10 marks of the code and rules and regulations, then this cakewalk is going to be your 20 marks, 8 marks, and 12 marks here. So once you do this in itself, okay, this 65 marks is going to be an absolute cakewalk for all of us. Professionals, case laws, again, you'll have a professional, an advocate who's going to take it, and I'm sure that all of us will be able to get at least 8 marks out of the 10 marks in this. So this is as far as the code is concerned. And I want to tell you one thing, just 1 minute, sorry. What I want to say is how you're going to write the examination, online examination. You'll be given only one sheet of paper to take into the examination hall, a paper and a pen. Nothing else is allowed. And you'll go there, the exam is started, you'll start clicking the answers. Use that one sheet of paper intelligently. Use it with presence of mind. Divide that paper. This is how I did my examination. I cleared it in the first attempt. Divide it into 3 columns. One for questions which you know, one for questions which you're doubtful of, and one for what you don't know. So as you do the question, sequentially write the question numbers, fill it in whichever column it is applicable. If you don't know anything, put it in the don't know column. If you are doubtful, put it in the doubtful column. Complete the entire thing. The entire examination cannot take more than 45 minutes for anyone. Complete it, go back again, whatever is doubtful, review it. Whatever is correct, check, but do not change the answer, because if you think too much, you may go shift and may mark a wrong answer. There again, you're going to get the 20.25 marks negative marking. And whatever you don't know. But go through the questions also to see whether you have answered all the questions. Because sometimes in our anxiousness to do the exam well, we may have missed a question or two. Go through, ensure you have clicked all the questions, marked all the questions with the correct answer, marked all the questions with the for which you don't know. Whatever is doubtful, review it. Utilize the buttons there for review properly and check. Like Chinna said, there will not be you don't need to sit in that place for more than 1 hour, 15 or 30 minutes. You can finish the exam and walk out. The moment you submit, you'll know whether you have cleared, and clearing is very, very easy. So with that introduction, I'll go to what is the corporate. So I'm going to cover the corporate insolvency resolution process today. I'll be covering both the code as well as the rules and regulations. There's somebody who's raising their hand. I will go through everything, and maybe at the break or something, I'll just check and see who are the people who have asked any questions and try to answer them, because we have only 3 hours, and I'm going to attempt to complete everything within the 3 hours, or there may be a little bit of a spillover. So what we are going to handle now is corporate insolvency resolution process, which, as the name itself indicates, is the insolvency resolution of a corporate, that is a company, private, public, wherever it is, whatever law it is registered under, and also LLPs. So when we are taking up this entire insolvency examination, insolvency practice, we have to read the preamble to the code, where the Act itself clearly says it is for maximization of the assets of the stakeholders within a time-bound manner. So what we are doing in practice is this: maximizing the stakeholders' interest in the insolvency process in a time-bound manner. So this is what I will be dealing with is part 2 of the insolvency code, where we will in the first part, I'll talk about what is the corporate insolvency, who can initiate, against whom it can be initiated, and the broad process flow. So what is the corporate insolvency? It covers the resolution framework for corporates. And what does it include? See, this is what the process is. One, you file an application to NCLT. Here, the adjudicating authority is the National Company Law Tribunal. Tribunal has to admit the case. Then the IRP, who's going to be us, will be appointed. The IRP will form the committee of creditors, because you should remember here the basic tenets for forming the for which the code was promulgated, which is moving the control from the debtor's hand to the creditor. Control from the debtor to possession to the creditor. So formation of the committee of creditors, who after the formation are the people who are going to take the decisions with reference to the corporate, confirmation of the resolution professional, and preparation and approval of the resolution plan. So this is a process flow. What happens? There is a default by a company. Based on that default, whoever is facing that default, he is going to file an application in the NCLT against the company, and this application will be admitted or rejected by the NCLT. If there is a rejection due to some technical reasons, those will be rectified and resubmitted to the NCLT. The application is admitted. Once it is admitted, moratorium is declared. After moratorium is declared, your IRP is admitted, and then almost immediately, it will be given immediately in the section. You will see what is immediate. Public announcement is made. The IRP forms a COC. Then the COC meets, and after the COC meets, they will decide on whether to continue with the IRP or go to a new RP. Then what happens? The RP will take over the management of the affairs of the corporate. He calls for IM. IM is information memorandum, and then afterward, whoever is coming in as a resolution applicant, if the company is a viable corporate, if they feel so, they prepare a preparation of the resolution plan. Resolution plan here is approved by the committee of creditors, then submitted to the NCLT, and then after the submission, the resolution plan is either accepted or rejected. If it is rejected, what happens? If it is accepted, what happens? This is the entire corporate insolvency resolution process. Our entire topic today is within these boxes. This is what we are going to cover today. So who can initiate the process? The process will be initiated by the creditor, because somebody is owing that creditor some amount, and there is a default on that amount. So I will be covering some definitions. I'm not covering all the definitions. If I do all the definitions, 3 hours will not be enough for me. So whatever is important, I'm covering. I request everyone, this is a multiple choice question. Go through every single line of the code, the rules, and the regulations. If you go through everything, dots, crosses, and or percentage of voting shares, you can never fail in the exam and never fail in the practice. So what happens? The creditor files against the corporate debtor because there is a default. So what is a default? Default means non-payment of debt when whole or any part or installment of the amount of debt has become due and payable. So when it becomes due and payable and it is not paid by the debtor or the corporate debtor, as the case may be. So what are the fundamental things which are there? One is existence of a debt. Two is part or whole or installment of debt should have become due or payable, and non-payment of such debt or part or any installment thereof. If there is a default in such a manner, then any of these creditors, that is the financial, the operational, or the financial debtor, they can, sorry, it is the corporate, they can initiate the application, initiate the process of CIRP. So what happens now? What is the trigger for initiation? All of us are reading the newspapers. We all know what has happened to the minimum amount of default of 1 lakh. Section 4 covers that. Part 2 applies to matters relating to insolvency and liquidation of corporate debtors, where the minimum amount of default was initially 1 lakh, and there was a proviso which said that the central government may by notification specify the minimum amount of default of higher value which shall not be more than 1 crore. But now this 1 lakh rupees has been increased. because of the pandemic. During the pandemic situation, because the government did not want all the companies to be dragged into insolvency, by notification dated 24th March 2020, the minimum amount of default has been increased to 1 crore. So what happens to all the MSMEs? Now that the pre-pack has come in, the government has said for a minimum default of 10 lakhs, for an MSME, they can go in for a pre-pack resolution process. So this gap of from 1 lakh to 1 crore, that has been filled in by giving a option for the MSMEs to apply for pre-pack if there is a default of 10 lakhs and above. Okay, but that is not applicable for our examination. I'm just sharing it for information. So who can see? Now we have established that there should be a default, and the default should be a minimum default of 1 crore. Who can initiate? Who can it be initiated against? It can be initiated against the corporate debtor, the company, or the LLP. It is a corporate person who owes a debt to any other person. So the moment he owes a debt and the insolvency is triggered, it becomes a corporate debtor. The corporate debtor can be a company, an LLP, or any other person incorporated under any law for the time being in force. Any other company governed by any special act for the time being in force, except in so far as the said provisions are inconsistent with the provisions of the said act. It can never be a financial service provider who operates under the authority of a financial sector regulator, such as an RBI, SEBI, IRDA, or a public finance regulator. So this particular last clause which I have said is not included under section 2. I would just like to give you a small homework. Go through the definitions. Somewhere in the definitions, it is mentioned that it cannot be a financial service provider. Maybe you can share it with me either during the course of today's thing, or maybe the next, I'll be handling one more session. We can share it then. This is just a small homework. Okay, so who can the CIR be initiated against? That is the corporate insolvency process. Against whom can it be initiated? It can be initiated against personal guarantors to corporate debtors. It can be initiated against, it cannot be initiated against personal guarantors to corporate debtors, partnership firms and proprietorship persons, and individuals and other persons referred to in above. Please ignore that title which I've given. It cannot be initiated against these people. So now we'll come to some key definitions under section 5. Who is a corporate debtor? Corporate debtor, I already told you, means a person who owes a debt. He can be a company, LLP, or any person with a LLP under any law, but can never be a financial service provider. So who is a corporate guarantor? We need to know who is a corporate guarantor, because this has also now been brought into the CIR process. Means a corporate person who is the surety in a contract of guarantee to a corporate debtor. So now we'll come dispute. Default and dispute are the fundamental D's on which the IBC or CIRP is standing. One is default. There should be a default. 2 is dispute. You will see as we go on, dispute is something we should ensure whether it is there or not there. I will tell you once we cover a few more sections. When I come to section 8 and 9, I will tell you what, as professionals, we have to ensure when we are advising our clients. So dispute includes a suit or arbitration proceedings relating to the existence of the amount of debt, the quality of goods or service, or the breach of a representation or warranty. So when we are talking about the quality of goods or services, what is a dispute there? You will see, because here we said it is also an operational creditor can initiate the CIR process. Who is an operational creditor? A person who is going to supply you goods and goods or service. So there should be no dispute about the quality of the goods or services. Who is a financial creditor? A financial creditor is a person to whom the financial debt is owed, or the person to whom a financial debt is assigned. So now we have to see what is a financial debt. What is a financial debt? Because Unless and until there is a financial debt, a financial creditor cannot move against the corporate debtor. And most of the cases, bigger cases you see would be through the financial creditors. So what is a financial debt? A financial debt is something where there is a time value of money borrowed against interest. It is money, any amount raised by acceptance under any acceptance credit facility or its demat equivalent. Any amount raised pursuant to any note purchase facility or the issue of bonds, notes, debentures, loan stock, or any other similar instrument, or any liability in respect of any lease or hire purchase contract. So we will understand, as chartered accountants, we will all understand what are the different forms of raising money. And if that money, the moment the money is raised, you are establishing that there is a financial debt. And if the financial debt is not going to be repaid, there is going to be a default. Okay. So next, what we are coming to, any derivative transaction entered into in connection with the protection against or benefit from fluctuation in any rate or price, and for calculating the value of derivative transaction. Any counter indemnity obligation in respect of a guarantee, indemnity, bond, documentary, letter of credit, or any other instrument issued by a bank or financial institution. Then you have again any financial liability in respect of any of the guarantee or indemnity for any of the items referred to above. So here you have, now you know what is a financial debt. Who is a financial creditor? A person to whom a financial debt is owed or it is assigned. And what is a financial debt? Financial debt is any kind of financial borrowing in all these definitions on which there is a default. So now we know what is a financial debt. What is the initiation date, insolvency commencement date, and interim finance? There will be always there will be a question on the initiation date and the insolvency commencement date. So please go through these definitions properly. What is initiation date? Is the application to the adjudicating authority. It can be made either by the corporate applicant or by the financial creditor or by the operational creditor. So now, if you see, all this while I was telling you there was a mistake in this. Okay, I'll just leave it. I had put a financial debtor there. It is not a financial debtor, it is a corporate applicant. Corporate applicant, financial creditor, and operational creditor. Who is a corporate? We know who is a financial creditor, we know who is an operational creditor. Corporate applicant is the corporate debtor himself. He decides that he needs to apply for a insolvency process. So the initiation of the process itself is by the corporate. He is the corporate applicant. So what is the initiation date? The date on which you file the application to the adjudicating authority, which is the NCLT. Next, you have insolvency commencement date. It is the acceptance of the application for the corporate insolvency by the adjudicating authority, and you will be filing these applications to the adjudicating authority under section 7, 9, or 10. So if you have filed an application under section 7, 9, or 10, and the application is accepted by the adjudicating authority, the date on which it is accepted, that is the application for insolvency, the corporate debtor is admitted into insolvency, that is the insolvency commencement date. So there will be always questions. I think I have a model question there. Then you have what is interim finance. I'm going sequentially in the definitions. Interim finance is the amount of money which is raised by the resolution process, by the resolution professional during the resolution process period. So what we see, if you see in the preamble, it will be said to maximize the stakeholders' stake and also to ensure that the CD is kept as a going concern. So once you take over as a resolution professional, how do you ensure? Because normally when a company is coming into the CIR process, it will come with its bank accounts clean. There won't be any money. You will be having hundreds of creditors who are paying for money there. And you also feel that, okay, this company was mismanaged, but there are some orders, I can do something with this company. but there are no funds. So during that time, whatever finance you raise is called as the interim finance in your attempts to run the corporate debtor as a going concern. Then what is the insolvency resolution process cost? So one of the things which Mr. Chinna mentioned was about the fees which you get as a insolvency professional. This is one particular practice where it is certain that we will get our fees. Even if we do not get it during the CIR process, we will definitely get it during the liquidation process. Whatever is the amounts which are generated, the first amounts which are repaid is always the insolvency resolution professionals fees, and then the other related costs, other amounts which were spent for the during the insolvency resolution. So whatever is the insolvency resolution process cost, these costs are the ones which are always met first. So what are the insolvency process costs? One is the interim finance and related costs. The next one, fees payable to the resolution professional. Whatever is the fees which is due to you, even if you don't get it during the CIR process, you will definitely get it at the liquidation time. Cost for running the business of the corporate debtor incurred by the RP, because the RP is going to try to run the business of the corporate debtor as a going concern. Costs incurred by the government for the insolvency resolution process, and any other costs which are specified by the board. Then we spoke about operational debtor. Now we know who is a financial creditor. He's one who has a financial debt. Now, who's an operational creditor? For someone, there is an operational debt. So what is an operational debt? It means claims regarding provision of goods or services, and also includes employment. So even your employee is an operational creditor. So if there is a person who has not got a salary for some time, he can pull the company into insolvency because he becomes an operational creditor. Debt regarding payment of dues under any law, any amount which is owed to the government, all those, any your GST or income tax dues, all these also come under the operation creditors, and any amount payable to any central government, state government, or any local authority. Now, who is a resolution applicant? I already spoke to you about resolution applicant. A resolution applicant is a person who comes forward and says, yes, I am interested in this company. Why? We want to maximize the assets. We want the company to be as a going concern. The law was not promulgated so that all companies can be dissolved. The law was promulgated so that there is an opportunity given for the companies to be taken over by other people who can run it more effectively than the promoters. So they will come in as a resolution applicant. The resolution applicant means a person who individually or jointly with any other person submits a resolution plan to the resolution professional pursuant to an invitation made under 25(2)(h). So the resolution professional will call for resolution plans. He will give an RFRP, he will give an EOI, he will prepare an IM, he will prepare an evaluation matrix, and he will assess the resolution plan from the various resolution plans which are received, and he will go and present it to the COC. COC will check everything and it will approve, and it will go to the NCLT, and NCLT will finally approve the resolution plan. And all this, mind you, in a time-bound manner. So what is a resolution plan and resolution professional? Resolution plan is the plan which is proposed by the resolution applicant for the insolvency resolution of the CD. And who is the resolution professional? You and I, who are appointed to conduct the insolvency resolution process after clearing the examination, and it also includes the interim resolution professional. So now we have seen the basics on which this entire act is built on. We'll go to section 6 and 7 of the application to adjudicating rules. We will go to the entire process which happens when the insolvency resolution is initiated by a financial creditor. Financial creditor will be under section 6 and 7 and application to the adjudicating authority rules. So initiation is talked about in section 6 by either the financial creditor, operation creditor, or the, sorry, it's not financial debtor himself, it is the corporate applicant himself. We already saw financial creditor is the person to whom the debt is owed and or to whom the financial debt is assigned. We already saw what is a financial debt. Now, the first slide which I shared to you shows the entire process. It's the same process which is there for a financial creditor who's implementing the CIRP. So, what are the procedural aspects? Section 7 will talk about the initiation of the CIR process by the financial creditor. How is it done? The financial creditor, singly or jointly with any other financial creditor or any other person on behalf of the financial creditor as may be notified by the central government, shall file an application for initiating CIRP against the CD. Okay, now if you will go to the provisos, you will understand what is it about the class of creditors. So if there is a class of creditors, not less than 100 such creditors in the same class or 10% of the total of such creditors in the same class, whichever is less, they can also initiate the CIRP. Then next, this is, cases where it is the CIRP is initiated by some depositors in a company. Depositors in a company, there will be hundreds of depositors. So in that case, what happens to avoid frivolous complaints by small depositors, this condition of 100 such creditors in the same class or 10% of total such creditors, whichever is less, was brought in. And proviso 2 will talk about allottees in a real estate project. This was again to avoid the initiation by frivolous complaints for small amounts by allottees in projects, real estate projects. So these are the people who can initiate a CIRP. These people, that is the depositors as well as the allottees under a real estate project, are also called as financial creditors. What is the condition? Default should have occurred, and the debt or default is of the financial creditor or any other creditor. What should happen? The application for initiation should be accompanied by the proof of the debt, proof of the default, and the name of the insolvency professional. So here is one of your question points. This is given in this table manner so that you are able to pick. Now, if you go through this along with the code in your at your side, you will understand there are at least around 5 to 6 questions which can be which will come to you in the examination out of this one slide. One is whether the name of the insolvency resolution professional has definitely got to be mentioned in the application by a financial creditor. Here you see application is to be accompanied by proof of debt, proof of default, and name of the insolvency resolution professional, and the confirmation of the default. So what will happen is when the application is filed with the NCLT or the adjudicating authority, the adjudicating authority can go back to the information utility. Information utility is one of the organizations where all financial debt, banks and other financial institutions file the details of the loans which they have given. And this is happening now regularly. These are all institutions which came in after the implementation of the code IBC and IBBI. So within 14 days, the information utility has to share evidence with the adjudicating authority about the existence of the debt or any other evidence. So what happens? The financial creditor will submit the application to NCLT. NCLT reviews the application and confirms the default. If the application is okay, the application is admitted. Otherwise, it will be rejected by the NCLT, and 7 days time is given to the applicant to rectify the errors or deficiencies in the application. So now you go to the rules. I've ensured that I go to the rules and the applicable regulations along with the sections so that it is easier for you to be able to understand how the code acts in consonance with the rules and the regulations. So now we know that the financial creditor is going to file the application. What is the application? It is form number 1 in rules, and as in rule 4, and the proposal of the name of the resolution professional will be done in form 2. And once this application is also done, the creditor, financial creditor, apart from filing it with the adjudicating authority, also has to send a copy to the corporate data by registered or speed post. And in case of joint applications, one nominee will be identified by amongst the financial creditors. And in case of an assigned, we already saw in the definition of financial debt, a financial debt can also be one which has been assigned to the financial creditor. In such an instant, the transfer document, instrument of assignment or transfer, should also be furnished along with the application. Now, this to also be sent to the CD by registered or speed post. When you are actually going in for the hearing, you have to produce the POD, proof of delivery, to the corporate debtor. Otherwise, the NCLT in practice will not accept your application. So this should also be sent simultaneously. And financial creditor can either by itself or jointly file against the corporate debtor. And if you have bulky papers, because normally if you see that when we are dealing with banks, the documents will be huge. The bulky backups can be furnished in soft copy. And fees. This is a question point. Form 1 should be accompanied with the fees of rupees 25,000 rupees. How can the insolvency professional be appointed as an IRP? Insolvency professional, he will be signing in the form 2. That is, the financial creditor will give a form 2 to the IRP, ask him to send to the resolution professional and ask him to sign it, and it will be attached along. So it is mandatory along with form 1, form 2 should go. So once the case gets admitted, automatically whoever signs will get appointed as an IRP. So now, as we go further, we will see form 2 and then we'll see form AA. What is the difference between the two? These are all, I have covered it from the examination point of view. Form 2 will be in the rules. Application to adjudicating authority rules. What is form 2? It is a written communication by the proposed IRP that he is willing to act as the IRP for this particular case. Form AA will be there in the regulations. It is the written consent to act as a resolution professional. Form 2 is when they are initiating, and form AA is by the resolution professional. See the number of different things here. Written communication, written consent, this is in rules, this is in regulations, this is by the proposed IRP, and this is by the resolution professional. Please understand all these, thin lines of difference, because these are the points where we get confused when, there may be a question which says that the written communication by the proposed IRP can be given in form 2, form AA, form 1 or form 3. The answer should be form 2 and not form AA, because here form 2 and form AA are similar. So now what happens? When you see section 7, it will say you are mandatorily supposed to propose a resolution professional, and the NCLT has to check that there is no disciplinary action proceeding against the resolution professional, or application is incomplete, or default cannot be established, because you have to give proof of default. If there is no proof of default, again the NCLT will not accept. So the NCLT will refer to the IBBI for the disciplinary proceeding confirmation against the resolution professional, check the application for completeness, and check if there is enough evidence, one either from the IU or any other evidence to establish that there is a default. So this is as far as the financial creditor is concerned, where under section 7 and CIRP is initiated by the financial creditor. Now you come to section 8 and 9. These are very important sections which we as chartered accountants, now I'm talking to you as a chartered accountant, we as chartered accountants should also be aware of. as professionals, we all have a whole gamut of laws with which we are supposed to have more than a working knowledge, almost an expert knowledge. Now, insolvency will also be joining along with those laws, because most of our clients will be operational creditors somewhere, and we should be able to advise them both from the CD angle as well as from the operation creditor angle. So, section 8 and section 9. So we already saw what is an operational debt as per 521. It is used for provision of goods, services, employment. I told you already, employees can also initiate a CIR process. Debt regarding payment of dues under any other law, that also I told you, and payable to any central government or state government or any authority. Now, I was telling you, I was talking to you about the MCQs. What does a debt include? Debt includes financial debt, operational debt, both of the above or none of the above. These are the types of questions which will come in the examination. Can people do this to me on the chat? What would be the answer? Okay, so most of the people have given the correct answer. So the answer is C, both of the above. So debt includes both financial and operational debt. So what is the process flow for an application by the operational creditor? So again, a two-step process. One, in this case, we have to confirm the debt. In the case of a financial creditor, this is not needed. Here, you need a confirmation of the debt through a demand notice in Form 3, or you should have issued an invoice in Form 4, and then you apply to the NCLT for resolution. So how can the debt be confirmed? Confirmation of debt through a demand notice in Form 3. Form 3 is there in the rules, is integral for this initiation under Section 8 and 9. Form 3 under Section 8, demand notice is served by the operational creditor to the corporate debtor, demanding payment of the operational debt towards which the default has occurred. And if the debt has already been disputed, then process under this code is not possible. I told you it stands on two Ds. One is debt and one is default. One is dispute. Okay, so if the debt has been disputed, what happens? Then the process under this code is not possible. So here are the practice points as chartered accountants. When we read this, you yourself can tell me what happens. When what happens when a notice is sent? I am an operation creditor. I am issuing a notice in Form 3 to the corporate debtor and tell him that you have to pay me, boss, you have to pay me 1.25 crores. So what happens? The entire process now depends on how the CD is going to reply to you. These are the things which the CD can do. He can provide evidence of the existence of dispute. He will say, no, the quality of goods which you supplied were not good, or you have supplied me the goods late. I have already raised these issues with you. Provide evidence of existence of dispute, if any, or record of pendency of suit or arbitration proceedings before the receipt of such notice or invoice in relation to the dispute. So this is the key word here. He should provide you the existence of the dispute before the receipt of this demand notice which is being sent by you. Or if he is already paying, if the corporate debtor is going to say, no, there's 1.25 crores which you have raised, I have already paid you, he has to provide the proof of the payment along with attested copy. It should be an attested copy of the electronic transfer or the encashment of the check. And there is also this unlikely event of him saying, oh my God, I don't want to get into insolvency. I'll pay the entire amount to you. Normally this is happening. People will say, no, I will come and make the payment, or they'll work out some kind of a settlement for this. So in Form 3 application, so if no response is received, so here I'll just take 2 minutes to talk to you about the practice points. Now, we are all auditors of MSMEs. You have clients who would be supplying and who would also be receiving the supplies. So if in case there is a payment outstanding to your customer from a bigger corporate, what do you have to do? This is where as auditors, we have to tell them, kindly ensure that you get your balance confirmation every year. Ensure that there is no quality issues or technical issues in whatever you have done. If there is no such thing, then automatically your balance confirmation is going to come. Once there is a balance confirmation there, it means that the corporate debtor has accepted the debt. Okay, this is as far as the person who's going to raise your client is going to has to receive money from the corporate debtor. Now, I am the corporate debtor. What do I advise my corporate debtor? I will tell him, sir, in case you are not going to make payment to your creditors, ensure that you have a sufficient reason. You can't tell him create a dispute. Sufficient reason for not making the payment. If there is a dispute, kindly ensure that you communicate the dispute to your client, to your vendor. Because if you don't communicate your dispute to your vendor and there is a long outstanding due to the vendor and he is going to issue a notice to you, you cannot then tell him, no, I had an issue, because here the operative word is before. So this is a very, very significant point on which we can do advisory, and also we can do advisory as insolvency professionals. I get a number of cases where I have to tell them how to. When the client comes to me and tells me, I want to, I want a solution, I have a long outstanding, then I tell them, do you have a dispute? What do you do? In case I'm sitting on the other side, I tell them, if there is a dispute, kindly communicate it to the vendor. To the vendor, I tell them, ensure that you get the balance confirmation. To all the smaller MSME cases, we have to tell them, get the balance confirmation. This is one of the best practices which any industry any company should follow, getting a balance confirmation. I always insist, get the balance confirmation, because tomorrow, if you want to proceed legally against them to recover your funds, then this, non-existence of dispute, there should be no dispute. And how do you ensure that? By getting the balance confirmation. So confirmation of debt, and you apply. So if no response is received on the dispute or no payment is received, then the application, so you have already issued the demand notice. For 10 days, this person has not replied to you. So after 10 days, you are well within your rights to file an application with the NCLT for insolvency. So what are the procedural aspects? Again, operational creditor, default should have occurred and no dispute as at the date of the demand notice. I've come across certain smart corporate debtors, who will forge and try to create a dispute. So if I'm sending him a demand notice today, he will send me a forged document with a dispute which is around 3 months earlier, or he will, some of them who don't have knowledge of this will try to, who don't take professional advice, will try to say, no, there was a dispute, and give you a reply based around 10 days later. So it should be done in form number 5, and the fees is 2,000 rupees. What do you have to attach? The demand notice or the invoice copy. Invoice copy is in form 3. Demand notice is in invoice in form 4 and demand notice in form 3. There should be an affidavit that there is no dispute raised by the debtor. Certification from the financial institutions. This is sometimes most of the times very difficult to get, because no bank is going to come and say that CD has not paid, and copy of any record from an IU or any other proof that there is unpaid operational debt. Here, the insolvency professional may be proposed in form 2. There, when you see for the financial creditor, he should be proposed, whereas in an operation creditor, it may be proposed. So what is the form of application to NCLT? Now, again, I come to the rules. Operation creditor should submit to the corporate debtor. I told you in form 3, form C. The demand notice has to be served at the registered office or in electronic means, and copy of the demand notice is to be filed with the information utility, if any. So now all these are being made mandatory also in our practice. When we do all this, we have to file with the information utility. Required documents should be attached, And copy of application, the day you send it to the adjudicating authority, you also have to send it to the corporate debtor. I told you the NCLT will ask you for proof of service of notice to the CD. Then the application can be filed online, and it can, if it is bulky, you can submit it in scanned or then USB storage device, and a fee of 2,000 rupees has got to be paid. So how does the NCLT admit to an application? It should be complete. Operational debt is remaining unpaid. Demand notice has been delivered and proved as delivered. I told you, you should prove that it's delivered. You should attach the proof of service. Debt is not disputed by the CD and informational utility prior to the delivery of notice, and no disciplinary proceeding is in case resolution professional's name is being suggested in form number 2. No disciplinary proceeding is pending against the resolution professional, and in case there is any defect in the application, that will be, you'll be given 7 days to rectify the defect, and once all these conditions are satisfied, the NCLT will pass an order admitting the CD into CIRP. Sorry, I think it is a little, the font is a little small. So these are the timelines. The date starts the day when the demand notice is sent or the invoice is sent. Within 10 days, the CD has to prove the dispute or give the proof of payment or pay or come for settlement. After 10 days, if this doesn't happen by the CD, the operational creditor may file an application with the NCLT, and within 14 days of the application being filed, the NCLT can admit the application or reject the application for want of any deficiencies, and within 7 days, these defects should be rectified by the operational creditor, and then the NCLT will admit the corporate into CIRP. So now we saw the operation creditor, we saw the financial creditor. We come to the third one, the corporate applicant. Corporate applicant will be dealt with in section 10. Corporate debtor himself will initiate. Who is a corporate debtor? We need to know that. He's a member or partner of the corporate debtor authorized on this behalf. A person who has, who is a corporate applicant. He's a corporate debtor, a member or partner of a corporate debtor authorized in this behalf. Person who has control and supervision over the financial affairs of the corporate debtor, or an individual who is in charge of managing the operations and resources of the corporate debtor. So any of these 4 can apply for insolvency as a corporate applicant under section 10. What is the procedure? Same things. It can be done, the application will be done by the corporate debtor. Default should have occurred in the payment of debt. So the debtor himself, the applicant himself says, I have an outstanding of 10 crores, I'm unable to pay it. It should be done in form number 6 with the 25,000 rupees fees. Attachment is books of accounts and other documents. So the corporate applicant has to substantiate the debt through the books of accounts and other documents. Information relating to the RP. So again, in form 2, the insolvency professional should be proposed, and a special resolution passed by shareholders, so 3/4 of the total number of partners of the CD. Again, what happens? The NCLT will either accept and pass the order if it all is found complete, or they will reject. All this within 14 days, or it will reject, or if there is a disciplinary proceeding pending against the RP, proposed RP will ask the board to propose some other RP, and they will give 7 days for time for resubmission after rectification. So required documents and records should be attached. Copy of application sent to the adjudicating authority to the registered office of the CD through registered post or speed post. So we saw section 7, 8, 9, 10, who are all going to make the application. Now we are coming to see who cannot make. One who is a person, a CD who is undergoing a CIRP, or who has completed a CIRP 12 months preceding the date of making the application, or a CD or financial creditor who has violated the terms of the resolution plan, which was approved 12 months before the date of making the application, and a corporate debtor in respect of whom a liquidation order has been passed. So what are the formats under this? Application by financial creditor, and this is all just a revision because these are all the main question points in the examination. Application by a financial creditor will be by Form 1, written communication by the resolution professional of consent by the resolution professional is Form 2, notice of demand and invoice Form 3 and 4, application by operational creditor is 5, and corporate applicant it is 6. Fees is 25,000 by a financial creditor, operational creditor is 2,000, and corporate applicant it is 25,000. So this is a small table where I have covered what is all needed. These are tables which will be very useful for you when you're preparing the examination, because these are all the minute points of difference where a question can happen. See, special resolution by a shareholder or partner, it need not be attached by a financial creditor or operation creditor, but a corporate applicant, it has to be attached. RP has to be proposed by a financial creditor and by a corporate applicant, but need not be proposed by an operation creditor. He may or he may not. Statement of affairs has to be attached in the application by a corporate applicant, and authorization in case of joint applicants by a financial creditor. So copy of relevant documents, we saw in operation creditor, he has to attach from the financial institution that there is no payment of the relevant unpaid operational debt, and all applications have got to be accompanied by an affidavit. So this is a question. Can anyone take this? Which among the following is not entitled to initiate a CIRP? CD in respect of whom a liquidation order has been made, a CD that has not gone through a CIRP, a financial creditor, an operational creditor who cannot. Okay, I think everyone here is paying attention so much. Everyone is going to clear in the first attempt. The answer is A. And most of the people have given the right answer. Who can initiate the CIRP? Only the corporate data, financial creditor, operation creditor, FC, OC and CD, or CD and financial creditor? Okay, so everyone is answering. So financial creditor, operation creditor, and the corporate debtor. Okay, so now we come to the next thing, section 12 and 12A. They're two very small sections. It will talk about the insolvency period, initiation date, time limit. Time limit is what we talk about in section 12. We all know in a time-bound manner. If you take the preamble to the code and see, it will talk about the time-bound manner in which the process is going to be conducted. So the period of the insolvency is going to be a period of 180 days. Period of 180 days beginning from the insolvency commencement date. So we have to understand the difference between insolvency commencement date and initiation date. Insolvency commencement date is the date when the order is passed by the NCLT, and initiation date is the date on which the application is filed in the NCLT. So 180 days. The RP shall file an application to the adjudicating authority to extend the period beyond 180 days if instructed to do so by a resolution passed at a meeting of the COC by a vote with 66% of voting shares. Okay, so a minimum of 66% of the voting shares of the COC have to approve and tell the resolution professional, go ahead, this 180 days is not enough for us to complete this process, ask for an extension with the adjudicating authority. What will happen? Adjudicating authority will give you only one extension up to 90 days. It will not be granted for more than once. So in this slide, There are around 5 questions based on the periods, number of extensions, voting percentage, and who is going to authorize. Can the RP on his own go and approach the NCLT? Today I am taking up the insolvency process for SR Steel. Today itself I know I will not be able to complete it in 180 days. Can I go and apply, reach out to the adjudicating authority and ask them to give me an extension of 90 days? No. Unless and until I am authorized by the COC by a vote of 66%, I cannot go to the adjudicating authority and ask for extension. This section 12 is very, very important. There will be at least one question in the exam from this. So this is a question. What will be the maximum time limit in which the process shall be completed from the insolvency commencement date? Any takers for this question? Yeah. So everyone is clear that it is going to be 180 days. The AIM may extend the period for the process beyond the time limit. How many times? I told you twice, thrice, once, or normally nowadays they don't give us this option of none of the above. So you won't get too many of none of the above. But what is the correct answer? Twice, thrice, once, none of the above? Yeah, most of the people have given the right answer. It is once. Okay, so why do we need to know the CIR time period of 180 days? The CIR, the corporate debtor, we all know, once the corporate debtor is admitted into the CIRP, he becomes eligible for a 180-day calm period. If you see the BLRC report, they will talk about the calm period. This is the moratorium, calm period, during which the debtor and creditors are required to define and submit a resolution plan to the NCLT to enable the CD to resolve the debt default situation, or alternately be liquidated and wound up. So they're giving you a calm period wherein nobody can come and harass you. Nobody can come and ask you to give repayment. So the adjudicating authority, okay. So we will talk about that in section 14. Section, this relevance of 180-day period is for us to understand that this calm period is given for us to resolve the default by calling for a resolution plan or alternately getting liquidated and wound up. Withdrawal of application. These are some of the new sections which have been inserted on the basic code. These are all the amendments which have come. Adjudicating authority may allow the withdrawal of an application admitted under section 7 or 9 or 10. 7 is financial creditor, 9 is operational creditor, 10 is corporate applicant. What is 8? Can anyone tell me what is 8? Yes. No. It is not consent of IRP. What is section 8? Financial creditor we saw. We saw operational creditor. Okay. Yes. Notice. No. Demand notice. Yeah. Demand notice. I told you we have to prove demand notice and invoice. You have to issue a demand notice. You have to tell the debtor, boss, you owe me money. I'm demanding payment from you. Issue a demand notice or raise an invoice for the outstanding amount. And you have to attach that along with the application. We saw that in those tables there. So, he may allow the adjudicating authority may allow the withdrawal of application admitted under 7, 9 or 10 on an application made by the applicant with the approval of 90% of the voting share of the COC in such manner as may be specified. So what happens, the application is unfortunately getting admitted for unfortunate for the CD. So what happens, the COC is formed. So the CD has to go back to the COC and get an approval from 90% of the COC to withdraw the application. So let us see what is the corresponding regulation. That is section 12A. This is regulation 30A. So an application for withdrawal for under section 12A will be submitted to the IRP or the resolution professional. So it can be done during the IRP period or after he's appointed as a resolution professional in form FA of the schedule before issue of invitation for expression of interest under section 36A. And application shall be accompanied by a bank guarantee towards the estimated cost incurred for the purposes of clause C and D of regulation 31. Committee shall consider the application made within 7 days of its constitution or 7 days of receipt of the application. So it will be made to the COC and they have to consider the application within 7 days of the constitution or 7 days of receipt of the application. And where it is approved by the committee with a 90% voting share, the resolution application shall submit it to the adjudicating authority on behalf of the applicant within 3 days of such approval. And after that, the adjudicating authority will approve the application submitted under this regulation. He will approve the withdrawal. The adjudicating authority will approve the withdrawal and the application can be withdrawn. Okay, so this is the regular section 12A is governed by, you should read it along with the regulation 30A. So what are the orders passed on admission? We spoke about the calm period. This is coming, the order itself, if you see, the NCLT will declare a moratorium for the purposes referred to in section 14. It will cause a public announcement to initiate the CIRP immediately. If you see the operating word here is immediately. If you see the order itself, all these 3 points will be mentioned in the order passed by the NCLT. It will declare a moratorium. That paragraph will be there. It will say that the order will say that public announcement has to be issued by the IRP, and it will call, which should call for a submission of claims under section 15, and it will appoint, the order will also say so and so is being appointed as the interim resolution professional. So I have highlighted immediately. We will see later what is, why it has been highlighted immediately, because today the NCLT is admitting the case, and it is telling that immediately public announcement has got to be made. Today evening, I may not even receive the order today evening. I'll receive a certified copy of the order, like say 2 or 3 days down the line. How can I issue a public announcement immediately? So we'll see that later, and it will appoint an interim resolution professional. So what is the moratorium under section 14? As on the insolvency commencement date, the adjudicating authority has now admitted your application. So insolvency has commenced on the date of the order. Shall by order declare a moratorium prohibiting the following: institution of suits or continuation of pending suits or proceedings against the corporate debtor, including execution of any judgment, decree or order in any court of law, tribunal, arbitration panel or any other authority. We already saw that this is a calm period to enable the corporate debtor to initiate resolution by getting resolution plans. The RP will get resolution plans or move in for liquidation. So during that calm period, there cannot be any institution of suits. There is a moratorium which is happening, which prohibits the institution of suits, prohibits transferring, encumbering, alienating or disposing of by the CD any of its assets. The CD cannot sell. Most of these people will be sitting on huge land banks or huge buildings or factories, land, any such thing. They cannot transfer, encumber or alienate in any way any of the assets or any legal right or beneficial interest therein. And it can also any action to foreclose, recover or enforce any security interest created by the CD in respect of property under SARFACI. The recovery of any property by an owner. Nobody can come and recover anything if it is occupied in the possession of the CD. So, but if there is any license, permit, registration, or if there is a quota or concession or clearance which was granted to the corporate corporate debtor by the central government or any local authority, state government or any other person, it cannot be suspended on account of insolvency. The central government cannot say, no, I will cancel this license because you have gone into insolvency, provided I have been prompt in the payments. Why do you think this explanation was inserted? This explanation was inserted to take care of the mining rights and other rights and leaseholds which are given by the central government. If the corporate debtor has been prompt in payment of these dues, then the central government cannot, any of the people who have given these licenses or quotas or concessions cannot, cancel these licenses on account of insolvency, because we should remember that always the CD is supposed to be run as a going concern. Then, supply of essential goods and services to the corporate debtor. The fact that a company is under insolvency is not it should not be used as a reason to cut off the electricity, cut off the water, cut off the broadband, cut off the telephone lines. All these will be coming in Regulation 32, will tell you what are the essential goods or services of the corporate debtor which cannot be terminated or suspended or interrupted during the moratorium period under Section 14. Now, these are not the only essential goods and services. These have been specifically given in the code. But where the IRP considers the supply of goods and services are critical to manage the operations of the CD as a going concern, then if the CD has paid the dues, the supply of those goods and services cannot be interrupted or terminated. This is given specifically in the code. So the provisions of this 14, the moratorium, will not apply to any transactions as may be notified by the central government or a surety in a contract of guarantee to a corporate debtor. And the order of moratorium shall have effect from the date of such order, that is the order admitting the application, till the completion of the CIRP process. So we have said till the completion. Completion, we also know, we have heard of resolution plans, where at any time during the CIRP period, if the adjudicating authority approves, we already said that calm period resolution plans will come. If the AA approves the resolution plan or passes this resolution plan, we'll see it will come under Section 30, 31 and all that, or passes an order for liquidation of the corporate debtor under Section 33, the day that these two orders are passed, the moratorium will cease to have effect from the date of such approval. So then we already saw Section 14 was moratorium, Section 15 was public announcement. We saw the word highlighted immediately. What is it? Public announcement is to intimate to the general public of the commencement of the CIRP, and to not only to intimate to the public but also to call for claims. It is a public call to people that whoever is owed money by the CD, please come and make a claim to the resolution professional. So the public announcement should be made by the IRP, and orders for the same, I already told you, in the order it will be passed, public announcement should be passed immediately. So what will be the contents of the public announcement? Name and address of the CD under the CIRP, name of the authority. So if it is an LLP, where it is, if it is a company which thing is ROC, Delhi, Chennai, wherever it is registered, last date for submission of claims. We will see what that date is. Details of the IRP, because the IRP is only going to issue this public announcement. He will give his own registration number and other details, because he has to receive the claims and also the penalties. In case anyone makes a false claim, what are the penalties for that? And the date on which the CIRP process will close, 180th day, which shall be the 180th day for whichever is the thing. So I highlighted that immediately in yellow. Public announcement shall immediately be made after the appointment of the IRP. What is immediate? Immediately refers to not more than 3 days from the date of the IRP's appointment as per the regulation. When does the IRP get appointed? IRP gets appointed on the date that the application is admitted by the NCLT, because the IRP will also be proposed, or if not proposed, NCLT will ask IPBI to suggest someone. So immediately refers to not more than 3 days. This is rather like in our accounting standards, we have the sufficient appropriate, where the auditor has to get reasonable assurance. How does he get reasonable assurance? By getting sufficient appropriate evidence. What is sufficient appropriate evidence? It is a high level of assurance, high level of evidence. So similar to that, a public announcement shall be announced immediately, but immediately shall not be more than 3 days. So you have that time of 3 days to give the public announcement. So again, regulation 6, public announcement will be made in one English and one regional language paper. This is mandatory with wide circulation at the place of registered office and the principal office of the CD and in any other location as may be necessary. Suppose I feel that registered offices in one place, they have a principal offices in another place, and they have another location where they are doing a high level of business, I can issue a public notice in all the 3 places also. It is up to the IRP to take a decision. And normally these CDs will have their coffers empty, so we will try to minimize our cost. And we will try to take it in the cheapest newspaper. But nowadays there are some queries coming up as to why this is happening only with the cheapest newspaper, which has a very low circulation. So here again, the RP has to take an informed decision. It has to be put up on the website of the CD or any website which is designated by the board, and state where the public announcement should also state from where the claim forms can be downloaded or obtained from. You'll already be giving your address. You'll also be giving the site from which it can be downloaded. And in case there are any class of creditors in that particular case, offer a choice of 3 insolvency professionals identified. So you have to say there are like 500 depositors in this particular with this CD. Then in the form itself, you will give a choice of 3 insolvency professionals from whom the creditor can choose. And that person will, the person who is chosen by the maximum number of people will be selected to act as an authorized representative of the creditors in each class. So the proof of claim is the people who have to make the claim have to submit it within 14 days from the date of appointment of the IRP, which is again the admission date. Expense of the announcement will be borne by the applicant. So whoever is the operational creditor, he has to be educated that, boss, if your claim is, if your application is going to be announced, you have to bear the expense of the public announcement. Or later on, once the COC is formed, if the COC is willing to ratify it, to the extent it is ratified, it may be reimbursed. Expenses of the amount is not. See, this here is the operative word. Expenses will not be a part of the insolvency process resolution cost. So specific aspects, what are the different forms? Public announcement will be in Form A. These will all be in the regulations. Written consent. I already told you the difference between Form 2 and Form AA. Form 2 is in the rules. Form AA is in the regulations. Form 2 is written communication. Form AA is written consent. Form AB is written consent to act as authorized representative. We already saw here that offer a choice of 3 insolvency professionals. So you will have to get this Form AB from 3 insolvency professionals, written consent from 3 insolvency professionals to act as authorized representative, and then the creditors will choose from among them. So if an operation creditor is anyone other than a workman or an employee, all vendors can come through Form B, financial creditors through Form C. The financial creditors in a class, they will give their claims in Form CA, where they will also mention whom they are selecting as an authorized representative. Form D is by workman or an employee, and in case the number of employees and workers are huge, then again they can come through an authorized representative, where the claim will be submitted in Form E. So as of now, we know what is happening. We've come up to public announcement. In public announcement, there we are going to call for claims, and they are going to tell what the last day for receipt of claims is and what is the period. So last day is 14 days. What happens to claims? You have, these are the operating things, the time period 14 days, OC, FC, workman. We have to know the different classes for different reasons, and they have to submit it in different forms, which we already saw. So as per regulation 7, operation creditor will submit in form B, and he can submit it in person, post, or by electronic means. And he also had to submit supplementary documents or clarifications in respect of that claim before the constitution of the committee itself. They have to. So normally what happens, once you call for claims, automatically they will give you the proof. And the existence of debt due to the operation creditor can also be proved by the basis of an IU, the information utility, or by any other relevant documents. What are the relevant documents? If there is a PO, there is a PO. If there is a contract, there is a contract. If there is an invoice demanding payment, any court or arbitral tribunal has adjudicated and asked them to make the payment, and also financial accounts. If you have, this is where your statement of accounts comes in very, very helpful. Then as per Form C, it will be given by financial creditors. Then they'll again give any supplementary documents. They can also prove from an information utility, and what are the documents they can submit: a financial contract, a record evidencing the amounts paid, financial statements, and any order of any court. Form CA. Form CA is by the class of creditors. So if there is a class of creditor, whatever is, again, all these are going to be almost similar. But here you see the agreement for sale, letter of allotment, all this is covering your home buyers. If you go to section 58F, when you go to the section 58F, which is talking about financial debt, you will come across that clause, that proviso, which will talk to you about the homeowners. So the letter of allotment and receipt of payment, we already saw home buyers will come under class of creditors, and minimum of 100 or 10% of the total debt due. Only so many people can make a clear, file an application. And so this letter of allotment is a very, very important record here, and any other document evidencing the existence of a debt. And this is most important because I already said in the public announcement, the RP has to suggest 3 or the persons as authorized representatives. And please understand, this is another practice area for us, because an authorized representative in these cases can only be another insolvency professional. So may indicate its choice of an insolvency professional from amongst the 3 choices provided, and whoever is getting the maximum number of choice will be appointed as authorized representative for the whole class. Form D and E is by workman or employee. They can submit by electronic forms, workman or employee in Form D, and they can submit with supplementary documents like your employment contract, your other HR documents, whatever they have. They should submit that. And in case there are numerous people, like in the case of the depositors and the class of creditors, here again they can submit it in Form E. The existence of dues due to workmen or employees can be proved individually or collectively based on records available in IU or other relevant documents. Relevant documents includes proof of employment such as contract of employment for the period, evidence of notice demanding unpaid dues, payment of unpaid dues, and any documentary or other proof that payment has been made and not been made, and any order of court. Form F. So any other person, if they have any claim, they can make it in Form F, and they again have to substantiate the claim with adequate proof, bank statements, order of court, any documentary evidence, or any other records which are available in an IU. So what are the other aspects? The interim resolution professional or the resolution professional can call for any other evidence or clarifications from the creditor to substantiate the whole or part of its claim, and whatever is the cost for substantiating that will be borne by the creditor. So a creditor can submit the proof with the claim with the proof on or before the last date, which is mentioned, which will be 14 days. Whoever is failing to submit it within the time stipulated in the public announcement may submit it till the approval of the resolution plan. No, sorry. It is not a resolution plan as on or before the 90th day of the insolvency commencement date as per notification on 3/7/2018. So before the 90th day, they have to submit the claim. Where the creditor is a financial creditor under Regulation 8, it shall be included in the committee after the date. So why are they submitting claims? I told you we have to understand the operational creditor, financial creditor, workman, employee. And we also know that one of the things which the IRP has to do is to form the committee of creditors, because we saw in under section 12A, withdrawal is allowed only by the committee of creditors. The RP himself cannot understand. So once the financial creditor is going to make a claim, the day that he makes a claim and it is accepted by the resolution professional, from that day he can become a part of the committee of creditors. But any decisions taken by the committee prior to this, to his inclusion, will not affect the validity of any decision. So now here again, this is where I told you, as auditors, we are most equipped to verify all the financials and the claims. The RP or IRP shall verify every claim as on the insolvency commencement date within 7 days from the last date of the receipt of the claim. And after that, the RP will be maintaining a list of creditors, which will contain the name, the amounts due, amounts admitted, and the security interest. Suppose normally financial creditors will have a security interest. What is the security interest in respect of such claims? And keep updating it as and when he gets more claims till the 90th day. The list of creditors should be available for inspection by the persons who submitted. So if they come and ask for it, we have to share it with them. Available for inspection by members, partners, directors, and guarantors of the CD. It should be displayed on the website, filed with the adjudicating authority, and presented at the first committee meeting. And now also has to be uploaded on the website of IBBI. It has been made mandatory for all professionals who are handling cases to file the list of creditors to the IBBI. So how do you determine where the amount claimed by a creditor? It is not precise.
Madam, sorry for interrupting you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 5 minutes break, ma'am. Can we go for a 5 minutes break?
Okay, fine. I'll just finish this particular slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more request from the participants, ma'am, a little bit slower. I know that the subject is too much, lot of sections are there. You need to cover almost 30, 33, 34.
They don't mind me taking extra time. I don't mind going a little slower.
Please,
Because
ma'am.
I don't want to go beyond 7:30 max.
Sure.
After that, it will become too much for people to sit and also listen. That is why I will definitely go a little slower.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So in case the resolution professional is not able to arrive at the correct amount, the amount is not quantified by the claimant, then the resolution professional should make a best estimate. He should estimate what is the amount of the claim based on the information available to him. And also, when he can revise that estimate if he gets any additional information. So let us break now. The time now is 5:55. Maybe by 6:10 we will come back again by 6:10. A short break till then. Yeah. Huh. So shall we start now? I had a query. Someone has raised a query as to what is the. I'll just take up those before the others join. What is the difference between a demand notice and an invoice? Yes, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. Please carry on. Questions, ma'am, please.
I can carry on. Okay, so what is the difference between a demand notice and an invoice? I'll just show you the demand notice and the uh, 1 minute. Yeah. See, we were talking about Form 3 and Form 4. Under Section 8, if operational creditor wants to, initiate the CIR process, he has to, under Section 8, issue a demand notice and invoice or an invoice in Form 4. Form 3 is demand notice or invoice, and Form 4 is the invoice format. So this is what is there in the website. IBBI in the adjudicating authority rules. I told you Form 2 is the written communication by the proposed interim resolution professional. Form AA, I told you, is the written consent by the resolution professional. That is in regulations. This is in rules. Form 3 is the demand notice or invoice demanding payment. Form of demand notice or invoice demanding payment under the IBC. Here, if you see, you're giving the details of your debt in this form itself. In this format, you will send it, and you will send it to the corporate debtor, telling him you have to pay. You have to give all the details in this. Form 4 is the form of notice with which invoice demanding payment is to be attached. So you will raise your own invoice and you will attach that invoice along with this form of notice and send it to the corporate debtor. And unless and until there is no dispute proved or other things are met with, the application will not be admitted by the NCLT under Section 7. Under Section 9. So you have your 7 under financial creditor, 8 is the demand notice or invoice, 9 is the application by the operation creditor, and 10 is by the corporate applicant. Then there were some questions about the CPE credit with the IBBI website. I think that the Hyderabad branch will be giving you an attendance certificate for having attended this course and for having paid. If you attach it along with the, when you're uploading the CPE details in the IBBI website, you will definitely get. If you go through the IIIPA website, there is one CPE, tab there. You go into it and you check and see any programs which you attend with any other professional body you are entitled to claim. So you can claim dual CPE for this program. One as chartered accountant for having attended this course, which I think Hyderabad branch is.
Queries on this, ma'am. Thanks for clarifying. A lot of queries on this.
The other is with IBBI. Dual CPE is available. Last year I had checked and this year I've gone through it. I don't think there is any doubt. Please upload all the details. You will automatically get your CPE credit.
Thanks for clarifying the doubts.
Yeah. So, shall we move on?
Please, ma'am, please.
Yeah. So, I think that there is one more query about the dual CPE. Yes, sir, dual CPE is available for this program as far as I know. So, if you upload the documents in IBBI, you will definitely get the CPE credit. So we were here in determining the amount of claim. So I'll do a quick recap because I think people felt I was a little fast. I will go straight from section 7 because I don't want to spend too much of time on the other sections. 7 is an application by a financial creditor if there is a financial debt. And the first thing what we have to ensure is, one, there is a default. Okay, there are 3 Ds: the debt, the default, and the dispute. So one, there is a debt, and then 2, there is a default of the debt. So you have to know what is a financial debt and what is an operational debt. Okay, and then there should be a default. Default is the amount should not have been paid. Earlier it was repaid, now it is not paid. And then there is a dispute which will come in only for the operational creditors. Operational creditors, the financial creditors will initiate the CIR process under section 7. Operational creditors will have to first confirm the debt. Okay, financial creditors, already they have lent the money, so the borrower has not repaid. So there is a default. There is a debt and there is a default. For operational creditors, there is no actual transfer of money between the two people. So there is only it is transactions involving goods and services. So you have to establish that this particular person has not received the payment for the transfer of the goods or services. And not only do you have to establish that, one more important thing which you have to establish is there is no dispute. If there is a dispute between the debtor and the creditor with respect to the goods or the services which have been transacted with, then the application will not be admitted. You cannot go through. Only it should be a clean transaction. There should not be any dispute. The default should be clean. The vendor should have supplied the goods or services, and the debtor would not have paid for it. And if there is no query on either the quality of the goods or services, then automatically it will be admitted by the NCLT. Corporate applicant initiating CIRP is through section 10, where the corporate applicant himself says, I have debt, I have committed default, I cannot pay it, so I am going in through this process. There are certain other requirements there where along with the proofs he also has to give the special resolution or confirmation from 3/4 of the resolution of 3/4 of the partners in case of an LLP. So these are the requirements. Section 10, 11, 12. Then you have 11 who cannot apply. Then you have your section 12. You have section 12A, which is section 12, which talks about the period 180 days, 90 days, and application for extension. How it has to be done by the RP only through the approval of the COC. 12A is withdrawal of the application. You have to read 12A along with the regulation 30A, which talks about how the application can be withdrawn, who will withdraw, how it will be withdrawn, when it will be withdrawn. It can be withdrawn during the interim resolution period, during the resolution period. Both the times it can be withdrawn. It has to be approved by the COC again. And then once it is approved by the COC, the resolution professional will file with the NCLT, and NCLT will approve the withdrawal. So we've come up to 12A, and then you come to section 14, which is the moratorium, 15, which is the public announcement, and 16, which is the claims. 14 is a moratorium, which talks, the 13 will talk to you about the calm period and what is given in the orders by the NCLT. 14 will give you what is a moratorium which is happening. Calm period is that 180-day period from the date on which the application is admitted till the completion of the CIRP period. Why is this calm period in place? To enable the corporate the debtor to scout, or either by itself or through the RP for resolution applicants, resolution plans. So to give them that period to recover, because in the preamble itself, it is to ensure that the companies are as a going concern. Then you have other things in the moratorium period. They cannot, essential goods cannot be stopped. If there is any particular essentials for a corporate separately, which the insolvency professional feels is needed for the company to, for the corporate debtor to carry on business, and if there is no default on the payments by the CD, then those services cannot be suspended. And then if there is any licenses or quotas or clearances which have been given specifically to a corporate debtor by a government or any other body, those cannot be suspended or interrupted mainly because of the insolvency process. But in similar to the other thing, the corporate debtor should have paid everything properly. So you have moratorium, then you have the public announcement under section 15. Public announcement has got to be made immediately. Try to link it with our accounting standards about evidence. You will know immediately is within 3 days of appointment of the interim resolution professional. Appointment happens along with the admission. Both are together. They are dependent. They are not independent of each other. They are dependent. Admission and appointment of IRP, and within 3 days of appointment of the IRP, the public announcement has got to be released. Public announcement will give the details of where the corporate debtor has been registered, details of the resolution professional, along with how he needs to be contacted, last date of the CIRP, date on which it is ending, and the most important, it will call for claims and the last date for receipt of claims. So now we come to other aspects like in the regulations, how the claims are to be submitted, what are the various forms in which the claims have got to be submitted, Form B, Form C, Form D, how, in the public announcement, if it is a company, suppose the corporate debtor is a company which has accepted deposits from the public, there'll be around thousands of depositors. So for them, they are called as a class of creditors, and there is a huge class of creditors. This class of creditors should be represented by an authorized representative. So in such cases where there are class of creditors, in the public announcement itself, the IRP will say, give you a choice of 3 insolvency professionals, which the depositors or the class of creditors can select. From the 3, they can select anyone, and whomsoever is selected by the maximum number of the creditors will act as the authorized representative for that class of creditors. Why do we need them? Because when the committee of creditors is formed, you can't call 1,000 depositors and ask them to do. We are not conducting an AGM in a stadium. We are conducting a committee of creditors meeting. So this authorized representative will come and sit on the committee of creditors. Similarly, for home buyers, again, the same 100 people, 10% of the debt, one authorized representative will come and sit. This is mainly to avoid the frivolous applications for insolvency. And after the public announcement, you have the claims. They have to submit the claims in the specified forms within 14 days, or it should be submitted by the 90th day. By the 90th day for the verification of claims, because normally after the 90th day, you see, we have to submit a report to the NCLT saying this is the final list of claims which you have received as on the 90th day. How do you value the claims which have been made? You have to determine it. In case you're not able, normally they will say if somebody is owed around 1 crore, he'll say 1 crore is my claim and he'll give you the proofs. In some cases, we may not be able to give a proper figure. RP has to use an informed decision, and he can also revise the amount of claims admitted. In case the claims are made in foreign currency, it will be valued in Indian currency at the official exchange rate as on the insolvency commencement date. This is also a question, point in the examination. So now we will move on to these sections which deals with the interim resolution professional. This is the hero of the entire CIR process for the period of 1 month, 30 days, or till the appointment of the resolution professional. Till then, from the day he signs, he gets the case gets admitted and he gets appointed. Till that other day, this person is managing everything from issuing the public announcement, collecting and collating the claims. See, interim resolution professional will collate the claims. He'll collate the claims. He will form the COC, conduct the first meeting of the COC, and in case he gets appointed by the COC wants him to continue as a resolution professional, he will continue. If they want to replace him, he will get replaced. We are going to see what is happening here. So what is the appointment? What are his powers and duties, and how he is going to cooperate, how others are going to cooperate. So as per section 16, adjudicating authority, we told form 1, along with that form 2 will go along with the application by the financial creditor and by the corporate applicant. Form 2 may go along with the application made by the operational creditor. In case it doesn't go, then the adjudicating authority NCLT will make reference to the IBBI, asking them to suggest resolution professional, and that person will be appointed as the IRP when the case is admitted. So as on the commencement date, if you see in the order, we already saw appointment of the IRP, then the public announcement and the moratorium. All these three will come in the order. So as on the commencement date, the adjudicating authority will appoint the IRP, and yeah, we already saw that the NCLT will check and see if there is any disciplinary proceeding pending against the RP who has been proposed to be appointed. So whoever is proposed, NCLT will again refer to IBBI and check and see if this person doesn't have any disciplinary proceedings against him, and then only appoint him. So the term of the interim resolution professional, timelines are very, very important as far as IBC is concerned, because it is a time-bound process, and you have to be, from the point of view of the examination, kindly remember all the timelines, because there will be questions on all timelines. There will be at least 2 or 3 questions on timelines in the exam, and these are all, for taking. You just click the time correctly and you will get 1 mark fully. So please prepare tables for yourself about the timelines. So the term of the interim resolution professional shall continue till the date of appointment of the resolution professional under section 22. So what happened was, earlier it was just 30 days. But then we always used to say the IRP's period is 30 days. But now what happens is, it gets extended till the formation of the COC. The COC has to appoint this person as a resolution professional under section 22. So we already saw operational creditor. He's not specifying anything. He may specify. We saw, you will remember the table which I had made, in which I said financial creditor has to compulsorily refer an insolvency professional in form 2. Corporate applicant will also give the name of the resolution professional in form 2. Operational creditor may give. Please remember, this is a very important point from the view of examination. So, operational creditor, if he does not specify the resolution professional, the adjudicating authority will make a reference to the board. And within 10 days, the board should refer give the name of an insolvency resolution professional who should be appointed for that particular case. So when the application is made naming the RP, then again, if there is no disciplinary proceeding against the RP, he will be appointed as IRP. So what are the powers of an IRP under section 17? One, straight away, what will happen? You won't even know what hit you when the case gets admitted. The day the case gets admitted, one side you will have your public announcement and claims and all other things. Then the other side you will see that you have to go to the corporate debtors office. You have to take over, because the powers of the board of directors will be suspended and all the powers will vest in you as the IRP. You have to manage the affairs of the corporate debtor fully, totally. So from that day, they can't even sign a single check. Every single decision for that corporate debtor has got to be made by the IRP. Officers and managers of the corporate debtor will report to the interim resolution professional, and whatever are the records and documents which are needed, it has to be provided by them. The financial institutions should also provide all details to the IRP, and they can act only on the instructions of the IRP. The IRP will take over the control and custody of the assets of the corporate debtor. So what will happen is you will have to prove. See, we think it is very easy, but what happens, this is a very compliance-oriented profession. As you will see, once you clear the exam and take up the practice, every single word which we are reading here is applicable as a professional to us, because within those timelines, we should have done everything. So the day I get the appointment, the admission order, I have to go to the CD's office. I have to take control and custody of his assets. I have to take details of all the assets. I have to take the keys. I have to take the checkbooks. I have to lock his accounts. There is so much. You'll be like swamped with work. And these are your duties. You have a lot of powers, but your duties will be really overwhelming. And it is actually, I don't want to sound discouraging, but it is a very practical thing to start. When you're starting off practice, depending on the size of the firm, because you will know, you will have signed the form 2 and given. So you know what is the size of the CD. So accordingly, please create a backup for yourself. Create backup in the sense you should have a team of people who are going to assist you in doing this work. I cannot, as an individual, go and take over SR's team. I know for sure. I need a huge team of people to come behind me and assist me. I cannot go and take over the, I had to take over a chit fund company, and I had to go with protection to take over the chit fund company. So you are taking over the control and custody of the assets. Then you have to, the IRP will only execute deeds, act and execute deeds, receipts and other documents. So the board gets suspended. Whatever the board was doing, only the IRP will have to do. And you will have to take all such actions in the manner and subject to such restrictions as may be specified by the board. Board here always means IBBI. So authority to access the books of accounts, records and other relevant documents. So what will happen? All documents pertaining to the corporate data with government authorities, with statutory auditors, accountants, your GST audit, everyone, everything you have the authority to access. But you will also be responsible for those compliance of all those acts and other details. Then you will be responsible for complying with the requirements under any law for the time being enforced on behalf of the CD. So the moment you take over the CD, you will have to send letters to the bankers, you have to send letters to ROC, you have to send letters to income tax, to GST. You have, in case there is no GST number, you have to apply for the GST number. You have to ensure that the TDS is there. It will be huge. It will be very overwhelming. You have to actually be very on top of the key powers and duties of an IRP. Read all this thoroughly, because they are not only for exam, but also for your practice. So roles and duties, what do you have to do? You have to collect all information relating to the assets and finances and operations of the CD. You have to determine the financial position of the corporate data. What was the business operations for the previous 2 years? What is the financial and operational payments for the previous 2 years? List of assets and liabilities. You have to take the list of assets and liabilities as on the initiation date. We all know now there are 2 dates. One is the initiation date and one is the insolvency commencement date. What is initiation date? Initiation date is the date on which the application is filed. So you have to get the list of assets and liabilities as on the initiation date, and such other matters as may be specified, which we as professionals know. It will come in the regulations. Then what else do you have to do? You've already informed in the public announcement, you've called for claims. You've given the last date as 14 days. So people will start immediately. They will all already know that in the market, the information will percolate and people will know that this company is going into insolvency. So you will be flooded with claims. You have to receive and collate the claims, maintain registers, maintain proper soft copies of everything. You will have to ensure, you will need to have a team in the back office. You have to visit and verify all the claims by yourself. In fact, there was a question in the Q&A or chat somewhere where somebody asked, what is the difference, whether in non-interest bearing loan is in FC or in OC? I already told you, when you go into the financial debt definition, you will see there is a time value of money. So think of it on those lines, whether a non-interest bearing debt, whether there is a time value of money, because we have argued in a case about time value of money and finally that case was withdrawn. So you have to receive and collate the claim submitted by the creditors pursuant to the public announcement. And I already told you, we saw that box with the claims, the slide where the claims will be made by operational creditors, financial creditors, workmen, and also by others. There is a separate form for others also. So you will be constituting the committee of creditors. How will you form the committee of creditors? You will be forming the committee of creditors only after collating all the claims and taking the data of financial creditors separately, and only from them you will be able to form the committee of creditors. Monitor the assets of the CD and manage its operation till the resolution professional is appointed by the committee of creditors. See, this is a very, very, very subtle point. Okay, you will be very happy you've been appointed as an IRP, but your powers and your roles, your duties are in operation only till the resolution professional is appointed. Normally, IRP will move on to become the resolution professional. But nowadays, if you see, most of the financial creditors have their own panel, and for want of negotiating the fees, sometimes the resolution professional is replaced, or because they may feel that the case is too big for an individual professional to be handled. So the IRP will be replaced. So the IRP has duties only until the appointment of the resolution professional by the committee of creditors. Till then, he is only that. He is the interim resolution professional. Under section 22, the resolution professional will be appointed. So file information with the utility as may be necessary. Then, this is the most important thing. Take control and custody of the assets of the corporate debtor in which the debtor has ownership, right? So you will go into the day you are appointed, next day you'll take the order and you'll go to the corporate and you'll think, yes, today I am my IFP, I'm entering this office. No, there will be lots of resistance, or the CD may not even be at the address which was given. You'll face so many practical problems, but you have to prove. Where will you prove? Tomorrow, what will happen when you're doing the case? You will get inspection. You will see that in the course of the next few days, what are the powers of the IPA and IBBI to conduct inspection over the individual professionals who are practicing. So you will have to prove that you have taken control and custody of the assets of the CD in which the debtor has ownership rights. Now, control and custody of assets. What are the assets? These are all question points. It looks like it's very long. Wherever there are many options or many details or many subheadings or all this, you have to be thorough with it, because they're all examination question points. Assets over which the corporate debtor has ownership rights, which may be located in a foreign country. So even if it is located in a foreign country, if it is there in the balance sheet, and if he has ownership rights, it is his own asset. Over which the RP will have rights, IRP will have assets. Assets that may or may not be in the possession of the CD. Tangible assets, whether they are movable or immovable. Intangible assets. Securities, including shares held in any subsidiary. Financial instruments. Insurance policy. Assets subject to the determination of ownership by a court or authority. Then assets which are not included. So here you have assets which are included. Here you will have 4 or 5 questions. Assets which are not included, that is assets which are owned by a third party in possession of the. So the CD doesn't own the property, but he is possessing it. Okay. So it doesn't come under the assets for which the IRP will take control. Assets of any Indian or foreign subsidiary of the CD, and such are the assets as may be notified by the central government in consultation with any financial sector regulator. So this is section 18, which is rules and duties of IRP. You know, there is not a single section which I can say is not important. Every section, if you see, is very, very important. And as you go through the code again and again, you'll understand the importance. Now, this section, when I prepared for examination, I didn't pay attention, a lot of attention to many of the sections. And this was one of them, cooperation with IRP. When the IRP is appointed, it is expected, we already saw the powers of the board are suspended. So do you think that a person who has no powers, who till that moment was wielding enormous power, is going to be very happy in just being submissive to you? No, he is going to be extremely resistant. So the personnel of the CD and other persons involved in the management of the CD shall assist the IRP. The personnel should assist you. Now see, if they owe money to the employees, they will assist you. Now suppose they had treated the employees well, or if they had threatened them, they are not going to assist you. But the law makes it a duty for the CD, the directors and other key personnel, other accountants, whomsoever is there, they have to be cooperative with the IRP. This is very important. Where the assistance cooperation is not provided, IRP shall make an application to the adjudicating authority. So this, wherever, when you know, I used to find it very strange before I cleared the exam and started. Okay, after clearing the exam and practicing also, because I just read in there for the exam, I read where there is no assistance, it should be, IRP shall make an application to the adjudicating authority. I didn't know what I was reading. I didn't understand. IRP under section 19.2. If you go and speak to any advocate or RP, they will say, oh, just make a 19.2 application. 19.2 application is an application which is filed by the IRP, which is made by the IRP to the NCLT, telling the NCLT that the corporate debtor is not cooperating with me. Please order them to cooperate, instruct them. Give them an order asking them to cooperate with me. In fact, if you see, there will be some case laws which will be dealt with, in which the NCLT has ruled that the RP is a officer of the court and the CD is expected to cooperate with the RP, and if not, criminal action can be taken against them. So the adjudicating authority should direct the personnel or other person to comply with the IRP's instructions and cooperate with him. Now, I've been talking about the going concern, which is there from the preamble to the code. The interim resolution professional shall make every endeavor to protect and preserve the value of the property of the CD and manage the operations of the CD as a going concern. You know, it's already 6:40. If I go slowly, then I may not be able to complete it. Whenever anyone wants me to stop, please do tell me. I'll keep continuing till then. So one of the main duties, in fact, if when you go to the NCLT and you tell them that you want to do something, the NCLT will check and see whether you are protecting and preserving the value of the property. In some instances, if you want to sell a property of the CD, or if you say something is happening to it, we have been questioned in the open court, what are we doing to protect the value of the property? You cannot just like that deal with the property of the CD. Roles and duties of the IRP as a going concern. So to manage it as a going concern, you can appoint accountants, legal or other professionals, enter into contracts, raise interim finance to run the CD as a going concern. Now, suppose it is an export-oriented unit and you have to, you have a couple of orders on hand which was not fulfilled because of the initiation of the insolvency resolution, but the buyer is willing to go through with the order. There is no money. You can go to a bank and raise funds for it. Provided no security interest. If there is any encumbered property and if there is anything, only such part of it which is unencumbered can be encumbered. That also with the approval of the person to whom it was secured earlier, and provided provided no prior consent of the creditor shall be required, where the value of such property is not less than the amount equivalent to twice the amount of the debt. All these small points are pain points for us for the exam as well as in practice. Then duties, again, the IRP can issue instructions to the personnel of the CD as may be necessary to keep the corporate debtor as a going concern, and take all such actions and necessaries as are necessary to keep it as a going concern. It is a very blanket clause which we have to interpret so many activities as necessary to keep it as a going concern. So access to information held with whomsoever is living. Now we've come to the regulations, because there are some things which are regulated for the purpose of assisting the IRP to get information. We can go to depositories of securities, professional advisors of the corporate debtor, go to information utility, other registries that record the ownership of assets, members, promoters, partners, board of directors, joint venture partners, contractual counterparties. The RP can access information from all these people. Whatever is the information which they hold, they are by law bound to share that information with the RP. Now, next, the RP as a going concern, what he has to do, he has to conduct a registered valuation of the CD. Normally, they'll have some properties, some stocks, some machinery, whatever is there. They have to conduct a registered valuation. 2 registered valuers have to be appointed by the resolution professional within 7 days of his appointment. You have to keep note of this. He has to be appointed within 7 days of his appointment and not later than 47th day from the insolvency commencement date. So when you are having your working papers, which will be reviewed during inspection, they will check and see whether you have appointed. You have to make disclosures where again it will be checked and seen whether within 7 days you have appointed. And these people valuers are appointed to determine the fair value and the liquidation value of the CD. Now, persons ineligible to be appointed as registered valuer, relative of the resolution professional, related party of the corporate debtor. Please go through definitions under section 524, 524A, very important. It defines who is a related party and who is a relative of an individual. Related party of a corporate debtor and relative of an individual. Both these are extremely important from the examination point of view. So any relative of a resolution professional, related party of the CD, and auditor of the CD at any time during 5 years preceding the ICD, a partner or director of the IPE. This is now a new term which we are coming across. It is an insolvency professional entity. Insolvency professional entity is an entity which is formed by an insolvency professional along with, there are many criteria for that. I will not go into it. We will deal with it in the next few days. What is fair value? What is liquidation value? True registered values they will submit after doing the valuation in accordance with the internationally accepted valuation standards. Now we have the registered valuers who have come in. If they are two values are different, then a third person will be appointed, and whosoever is the closest to the value, they will take an average of that. So now we'll come to committee of creditors. Committee of creditors is one of the most important bodies which is going to conduct this resolution process along with the resolution professional. Certain activities have got to be approved by this COC. Only then can the RP do this, and meetings of the COC are very important. So who constitutes? We already said the IRP is calling for claims. Claims will be made by the operational creditor, financial creditor, and others. Financial creditors only will be forming the constituting the committee of creditors. So the IRP will collect the claims and constitute the committee of creditors, who is going to compose all financial creditors, excluding the financial creditor who are related parties to the corporate debtor. So you have to apply section 524 here. Related parties of the CD cannot form part of COC. It's very clear. Only unrelated financial creditors will form the COC. It shall not apply to a financial creditor regulated by a financial service sector regulator if it is a related party. Here also, again, because of the conversion or substitution prior to the insolvency commencement date. So now voting shares and decisions. We said that there are certain decisions which the RP can take only with the approval of the COC. The act, the code itself will specify 61%, 75%, 91%, 90%. All these percentages will be specified. All decisions of the COC shall be taken by a vote of not less than 51% of the voting share. So wherever the voting share is not specified, it should be taken by a vote of not less than 51% as per section 21. The board will specify, board is IBBI, will specify the manner of voting and determining the voting share in respect of financial debts extended to securities. Here again, as chartered accountants, we will ace this, because this is where we are very comfortable with figures. We will ace all this, and this is also one of our own an opportunity for us as chartered accountants, as well as the resolution professionals. You can go and have a tie-up with other resolution professionals and tell them, we will be as a consultant for you for all this. So then when there are no financial creditors, what will happen? There are instances where there are no financial creditors. The COC will comprise of such persons or persons to exercise such functions in the manner as may be specified. We will see how it is specified. So suppose the CD is owing debts to two or more financial creditors, where he owes, as a part of a consortium or agreement, each such financial creditor. Okay, you can't say it is a consortium, so only one person will come. Each of those financial creditors shall be a part of the COC, and their voting share shall be determined on the basis of the amount of financial debt. So you will find out the ratio, and the voting share will be determined based on the amount owed to them. Then, where a creditor is both a financial creditor as well as an operational creditor. There are instances where the operational creditor will tell the CD, okay, I understand that you are going through some problematic time. I will lend you money. But in spite of that, the corporate debtor is going to fail. So he'll be an FC as well as an OC. So to the extent of the financial debt, he will be a financial creditor, and he will be included in the COC, and his voting share, now will be restricted to that proportionate extent his debt is to the total debt. Okay, and for the balance, he will be considered as an operational creditor. We also saw, when we saw the definition of financial debt, the second box in that slide, if you remember, it will be any financial debt which has been assigned. How is it assigned? Operational creditor can also assign. Just, excuse me. So where an operational creditor is assigning or legally transferring any operational debt to a financial creditor, the assigning or transferee shall be considered as an operational creditor. So if I transfer my debts due to another person, that person will become the operational creditor to that extent. So let's see this question, which may come in the exam. Whether an operational creditor can assign or legally transfer any operational debt to a financial creditor? Yes. However, the transferee shall be considered to be an operational creditor to such extent. But the moment, the second option is the transferee becomes a financial creditor even though he transferred an operational debt. No and OC. Can somebody give the answer? Can you try this? Okay, so everyone is giving the correct answer. That's very nice. I'm feeling very motivated by this. Yeah, so the answer is A. So I'm feeling very motivated. I'm sure everyone is going to come through in flying colors. So now what happens in the case of a consortium arrangement under section 21? Terms of the financial debt extended as a part of the consortium or syndicate or whatever it is, and a single trustee or agent is going to act for all LCs, then every financial creditor will authorize the trustee or agent to act on his behalf to the extent of his voting share. So up to the extent of his voting share, it will be he will authorize the trustee to act, and he can represent himself on the COC to the extent of his voting share, or they can appoint another IP. In all these cases, we should understand only another authorized representative should also be an insolvency professional. So this is also a huge opportunity for all of us. And he can exercise his right to vote to the extent of his voting share with one or more financial creditors jointly or severally. Now, in case of financial debt is in the form of securities or deposits, so these are all 6A. Now, if you see, now the pre-pack is introduced as chapter 3A. So anything new is introduced, it will come with an A in it. We saw 12A and regulation 30A. Similarly, now you have section 21(6)A. It is in the form, the debt is in the form of securities or deposits, and the terms provide for appointment of a trustee or agent. He shall act on behalf of such financial creditors, or if it is owed, the debt is owed to a class of creditors. If you see, I already spoke to you about having what is the class of creditors. Please go to the regulations and read what is the definition of class of creditors. If a debt is owed to a class of creditors exceeding the number as may be specified. So this is the definition. At least 10 financial creditors as per definition 1AA of CIRP regulations. Other than the creditors covered above, the IRP shall make an application along with the list of financial creditors containing the name of an IP other than the IRP to act as their authorized representative. So in that other case, I told you in form FA, in the public announcement, 3 names will be given, and form FA, the creditors will mention who is the authorized representative they are choosing, and the person who gets the maximum choice will be appointed. So how does he do? The person who is getting the maximum choice, the RP will give the name of that IP and get it approved. You actually, as chartered accountants, we go, maybe we represent in the income tax tribunal and all that, but going to the NCLT is a totally different experience. So you'll make an application and say, this person is the person who is being selected by maximum number of creditors. So I want to appoint him as an authorized representative prior to the first meeting of the COC. Then again, he is represented by, if the financial debt is represented by a guardian executor and all that, they will again, you have to appoint an authorized representative. And why do you appoint an authorized representative? Because he should attend all the meetings of the COC and vote on behalf of each of the financial creditor to the extent of his voting share. Remuneration payable will be treated as a part of the insolvency process cost. So assigning of the rights by OC, we already saw he is assigned it or legally transferred to a financial creditor. Then this assigning of the transfer will be considered to be a legal transfer to the extent it is done. Now, COC has certain rights. They can ask for documents. The COC can ask the RP to provide any financial information in relation to the corporate debtor, and the RP should make it all available within a period of 7 days. Please remember, wherever the period of 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, 21 days come, you have to remember it because they're all pain points for questions. Then committee only with operation creditors. I told you there will be situations where there is no financial creditor for a CD, but there are operation creditors. What happens? Where the CD does not have any financial debt, or where all the financial creditors are related parties, the committee shall be set up under this regulation. How? 18 largest operational creditors by value. So you get the claims, you collate the claims, you will know who are the creditors with the largest value. If there are more than 18 creditors, 18 largest creditors. If there are lesser than 18 creditors, all of them will be included in the COC. Not only the creditors, one representative elected by all workmen other than those workmen who are there as operational creditors or as vendors, and one representative from employees. See, when there are only financial creditors will be considered for the COC. But where there are operational creditors, 18 of them or lesser than 18, one representative from workmen and one representative from employee. So this is an MCQ question, exam question. Who constitutes the COC? The insolvency professional, financial or operational creditor, interim resolution professional, or the adjudicating authority. Who constitutes it? Yeah, so most of the people got the correct answer. It is the interim resolution professional who constitutes the committee of creditors. Okay, then what is the voting rights? We said that anything it will have 51%, otherwise the percentage will be mentioned. Voting rights of the committee will be in proportion to the debt to the total debt. We as CS will ace this. Total debt is, what is the total debt? Amount of debt due to creditors listed in subregulation 2A, amount of aggregate debt due to workmen, amount of aggregate debt due to employees, because they are also operation debtors, they also have different firms, they also are owed money by the company, they will be making claims. All these debts total together will give you the total debt. Committee and its members shall have the same rights, powers, and duties and obligations as a committee comprised only of financial creditors and its members. Now we will say authorized representative form CA. IRP should select the IP who's the choice. I already discussed this in depth, so I'm not going to go too much into this. Please go through it. Now, what is the fees which is going to be paid? I am an IP, insolvency professional. I've been appointed as an authorized representative for creditors of class. Suppose I'm representing 10 to 100 fees per meeting of the COC. I'm going to attend the COC meeting. 15,000 rupees. More than 1,000, 20,000, and more, 101 to 1,000 is 20,000, and more than 1,000 it is 25,000. Committee with only creditors in class, committee shall consist only of the authorized representative. I am dealing in a case where there are only deposit holders, and I have appointed an authorized representative, and only he will come for the COC meeting. All this while we were talking about the IRP, the interim resolution professional. Now we are coming to the RP. Shall I proceed? Chairman? Okay, I'll proceed till somebody tells me to stop.
Madam, please.
Yeah, okay, sir. Okay, so now we have come to section 22, appointment of resolution professional. I'll go a little faster because in this case it will be similar to an IRP. So the committee of creditors has been constituted, and the first meeting. Now this is another very, very important point, clause. The first meeting of the committee of creditors shall be held within 7 days of the constitution of the committee of creditors. Please, when you're reading this, again, please pay attention to the shall, should, will, can, could, and all that, because those are also important operative words. So it shall be held within 7 days of the constitution of creditors, and the committee of creditors may, in the first meeting, by a majority of vote of not less than 66%. So not less than 66% of the voting share, the financial creditors have to resolve to either continue with this IRP or replace him and appoint somebody else. So There are a number of questions in this particular slide. 7 days, first meeting, 66%, continuation of the IRP or replacement of the IRP with another resolution professional. So where the COC resolves to continue with that professional, they have to take a written consent. Here comes your that form AA. Form 2, you will give along with the forms in the rules when the CIRP is being initiated under section 7, 9 or 10. Here, under section 22, the Committee of Creditors has resolved to continue the IRP. So, they have to take a written consent from the IRP in form AA. We will come to that. Here it is saying in the specified form is form AA, and it shall communicate its decision to the IRP or the CD and the adjudicating authority. Or it can replace the IRP. The COC can say, no, we are not interested in continuing this IRP. So they will file an application, separate application before the adjudicating authority and say, we are proposing this person, and they will give the written consent of that proposed resolution professional, and they will ask the permission of the adjudicating authority to appoint a new, replace the IRP and appoint a new resolution professional. So A will again do its duty of forwarding it to the board, asking them whether there is any disciplinary proceeding. If there is disciplinary proceeding, the board will suggest somebody else, or if there is no disciplinary proceeding, AA will appoint. Again, timelines are important. They should confirm within 10 days and the RP will be appointed. So a question here. Shall I skip the questions? Okay, I'll just go. This is a which will be the first agenda item. Actually, this when we are practicing, this will be one of the first agenda items which we will take up. Which is, yes, everyone has correctly. It's A, appointment of the IRP or replacement. Conduct, again, similar to what the IRP does. The RP will have the same powers and duties as were vested or conferred on the RP. He has to manage the operations of the CD until the expiry or until the approval of the resolution plan or a liquidation order is passed and a liquidator is appointed. In case of replacement of an IRP, the IRP has to hand over all the documents. Then meetings of the COC. Meetings will be conducted either in person or electronically. RP is the chairman and he is responsible. Again, we saw the authorized representatives and all, we have seen it in detail. So meetings, notice, the notice for meeting and the quorum for meeting are all examination questions. RP shall give notice of each meeting. In the regulations, we will see the number of days. Those are very, very important. Members of the COC, including authorized representatives, you have the notice of the meeting, to whom it should be sent. 1 to the members of the COC, 2 to members of the suspended board of directors or the partners of the corporate persons, operational creditors or their representatives if the amount of their aggregate dues is not less than 10% of the debt. Voting share assigned to each creditor. So again, these three people, the RP has to send notice for each meeting. Voting share will be assigned by the RP and to vote in those meetings. Their absence also, if their absence is, they have not come for the meeting also, it is not going to invalidate the proceedings. Okay, then what happens? These are all important. As per regulations, IRP shall file a report certifying. So that the moment I constitute the COC, I have to file a report constituting the COC within 2 days of the verification of the claims under Regulation 12. He should open, IRP should hold the first meeting within 7 days of filing this report. And where the appointment of the resolution professional is delayed, the IRP shall function from the 40th day of the insolvency commencement date till the resolution professional is appointed under section 22. So the RP may convene a meeting of the meeting of the COC as and when he considers necessary. But if a request is made by the members of the COC representing 33% of the voting rights, he can convene. Notice calling period, all these are all question points wherever I have highlighted. It should not be less than 5 days. It should be in writing. It should be sent to the address provided. The COC can reduce it to lesser than, not less than 24 hours. But if there is an authorized representative, it cannot be reduced to 24 hours. It can be only up to 48 hours. Services, email service is also accepted. It should state the name of the CD obligation, and obligation of the RP is satisfied. It's not, you're not responsible if the people for whom you sent the mail have not read it or have not received it. Whatever is email ID which has been given, if you transmit it to that address, your obligation is satisfied. Contents, please go through it. Members representing at least 33%. This is quorum. Members representing at least 33% of the voting shares present either in person or video conferencing. Please go through it. We all know, we all conduct, as chartered accountants, we attend meetings conducted as per the Companies Act. So we will all know all this. If you see, most of these clauses will be very similar to the Companies Act clauses. How do you make arrangement for the video, VC meetings, audio visual connections, especially in these pandemic times? And the most important in the conduct of meetings, RP will be chairman and minutes of the meeting have to be circulated within 48 hours of the meeting. Duties of the RP will be similar to that of an IRP, take immediate control and custody, preserving and protecting the assets of the CD. You have the right to act or on behalf and represent the CD in judicial, quasi-judicial and arbitration proceedings. You can raise interim finance, appoint professionals, maintain an updated list of claims, convene and attend all meetings of COC. Now we are coming to the things which we have not seen till now. You have to prepare the information memorandum, invite prospective lenders or anyone else to put forth resolution plans, present the resolution plan to the COC, file an application. This is very, very important. You will see the avoidance transactions in chapter 3 day after. File an application for avoidance transactions under chapter 3 and any other actions which will be specified in the regulations. Rights and duties of authorized representatives, please go through it. I'm not going in depth. This application for avoidance transactions. You will be talking, you would have heard about the avoidance transactions, the fraudulent transactions, the extortionate transactions, undervalued transactions, preference transactions. For all these, as an insolvency professional, the moment that I am appointed as a resolution professional, I have to make a application for avoidance, make an assessment, determine these transactions, and then file, in case there are such transactions there, file with the NCLT and applications for avoidance transactions. Now, when you are filing an application for avoidance transactions, the other activities within the CIR process will not get affected. Replacement of the resolution professional can be done at any point in time by the COC by a vote of 66% of voting shares. And again, the same procedure which took place when the IRP was appointed or the RP was appointed will take place. What you have to remember here is 66%. Then transfer of debt due to creditors, we already saw assignment can happen. But when an assignment is happening during the CIR process, the resolution, the people who are transferring the debts, both the transferor and transferee, will have to inform the resolution professional, and the resolution professional has to notify each participant and the adjudicating authority of any resultant change in the COC within 2 days of such change. Sale of assets out of the ordinary course of business. This is a very practical, you will use this when you are practicing. What should be most importantly remembered in this section is you can sell. Normally what happens is during the CIR process, the assets of the CD will not be allowed to be sold because you are the custodian of the assets. You're taking custody of the assets of the CD. You can only sell it unencumbered assets only in the ordinary course of business. Other than in the ordinary course of business, only if you are certain that if I sell it now only I get, there will be some deteriorating assets, okay, which you feel. In my instance itself, I had an Innova car for which I did not have parking, and I had to sell the car because the car was parked on the road and the value was depreciating every day. But again, then they came for inspection. They asked me, why did you sell the car without taking permission of the COC? So you cannot decide on selling anything, provided that the book value of all the assets sold during this period, aggregate value should not exceed 10% of the total claims admitted by the IRP. And when you go for approval to the COC to sell any assets out of the ordinary course of business, it has to be approved by 66% of the voting share of the members. And whatever is the sale which is happening properly during this time, the person, bona fide purchaser of this asset, will have a free and marketable title. So the IRP can always go and seek assistance of local administration. I told you in my case, when I went, I had to go to the police station and ask them for protection because I was mobbed by around 300 people who had come there asking for money. Regulation 30A we already saw. So what are the actions of the resolution professional which has to be approved by the COC? There are certain things which the RP can do only after taking the assent of the COC, raising interim finance in excess of certain amount, creation of security interest, change in the capital structure, change in ownership of the corporate debtor, instructions to financial institutions, related party transactions, constitutional document amendments, delegation of authority, disposal of shares, change in management. For all these things, you have to go and get the approval of 66% of the COC. So you have to call for a meeting, tell them I'm going to do this, tell them I'm going to raise an interim finance of 10 crores, which is what is needed. I'm going to create a security interest on an asset which is unencumbered and get approval of 66% of the voting share. And after that, if the COC comes to know that the RP has done any action without taking the approval, the COC will report the action, can report the action to the board for taking necessary action. So you will be prone to disciplinary action by the board. Then voting by the committee, this is, I'm sure that everyone here will know how the voting happens because this is similar to what is happening under Companies Act. Now we'll come to the other important points. We have only 4 more sections. I'll try to finish it fast. You have the residency. We already saw that the calm period is announced for during the course of the CIRP to get proper resolution plans. Now, what happens for getting resolution plans? You have to give information to the person who is coming, whom you want to come. Unless they have information, they are not going to be able to prepare a resolution plan and come. So you have to prepare the information memorandum and then only you will get the resolution plan. So how was the information plan memorandum prepared? Information memorandum is nothing but static information which is available, which as chartered accountants we'll find very easy. It is prepared by the resolution professional. It will contain information about the financial position of the CD, information it is required by the applicant and any other matters. And the resolution, this is very important. Resolution applicant to undertake compliance of the law. So they have to give you a non-disclosure agreement. They have to sign an NDA. Before you share it with anyone, you have to take an NDA from them saying they will comply with the law, they protect the intellectual property of the CD, because there's going to be information about the CD in the information memorandum, and they will not share it with anyone. So assets and liabilities, such as on all these details, you just please see. What is needed is the latest financial statements, audited financial statement, list of creditors, from whom claims have come, what is the claim which they have made, what is the claim which you have admitted, if there is any guarantee, then who are the stakeholders in that particular corporate debtor, who owes money, who are the people who have the financial debtors, any material litigation, any investigation which is happening, then details about the workers and employees. If the CD has any proprietary licenses, details of those licenses. Suppose they have an MEIS license, the details of those licenses. Whatever you think is going to attract people to come and invest in that company and give you a resolution plan, you have to put it in the information memorandum. Now, this is a very important section. It is a very elaborate section. The time now is 7:20. I'll try to cover everything in the next 10 minutes. So I'll go through this section very, very fast. We said we have to prepare an information memorandum. We have to call for resolution applicant. Now, there are some people who are not eligible to submit a resolution plan because this was introduced. Now, again, you have this alphabet here, A here. It is section 29A. 29A was inserted into this code because there were promoters who were using IBC as a mechanism for a backdoor entry back into their own, companies and avoid the debts which were due to them. Defaulting, they default on the debt, but they want to retain their company. So to avoid that, Section 29A was introduced so that a person which says these are the people who cannot come in as a resolution applicant. One, if he is an undischarged insolvent. Two, he is a willful defaulter in accordance with the guidelines of RBI. But if he is repaid, if you see, if he is 1 year has lapsed from the date of the classification and he has paid that amount, then if he has paid that amount of overdue with the interest thereon, then he can make an application, provided that nothing in this clause shall apply to a resolution applicant where the applicant is a financial entity and is not a related party of the CD. So again, see what is a related party here, and please go through this explanation too also. Then the person should not have been convicted of any offense punishable with imprisonment, read 2 years, 7 years, and he's disqualified to act as a director under Companies Act 2013 and is prohibited by SEBI from trading in securities or accessing securities market. And he has been a promoter or in the management or control of a CD which are preferential. See, these are the transactions which I told you under chapter 3. Okay, these avoidance transactions which we will file under section 66, the preferential, undervalued, extortionate or fraudulent transaction has taken place. So you will understand this clause a little more after the third session has taken place. So section 29A, after you do the third session, go through section 29A, these clauses. And if he has executed a guarantee in favor of a creditor or a CD against which an application has already been admitted, or is subjected to any disability corresponding to those under any law in a jurisdiction outside India, or has a person connected. Okay, please read these other sections. Who is a connected person? A person who is the promoter or in the management or control of the resolution applicant, or any person who is in the management or control during the implementation of the resolution plan, or the holding company, subsidiary company, or associated companies. So nothing in this clause will apply to a resolution applicant if the financial entity is not a related party. Then again, what is a related party? Again, section explanation 2 will give you what is a financial entity which has been notified. Then now we will come to submission of resolution plan. So you have called you've given the information memorandum, you've called for the resolution plan, you've made the RFRP. We will see that in the subsequent slides. So the resolution plan is submitted by the resolution applicant along with an affidavit saying he is eligible. He doesn't suffer from any of the disqualifications under section 29A. And the resolution professional will examine each resolution plan, and after finding that it all confirms with the criteria which is given by him, he will confirm what are the criteria. Payment of insolvency professional costs. So the person who is going to come and take over the company has to pay the insolvency process costs in the priority of payment over other debts. So the first is the insolvency resolution cost, where the professional costs also come. Provides for the payment of the debts of the operational creditors in such manner as may be specified by the board, which should not be less than the amount to be paid to the operational creditor in the event of the liquidation of the CD under Section 53. Section 53 is the waterfall mechanism under which gives you the priority of payments to the various creditors. Then the resolution plan should provide for the management of the affairs of the CD after the approval of the resolution plan and how it is going to be implemented and supervised. So then again, the resolution plan should not contravene any provisions of the law. It should conform to such other requirements, and he should present it. The resolution professional should present it to the COC and get it approved. So what happens? COC will approve the resolution plan by a vote of not less than 66% of the voting share after considering its feasibility and requirements. Then the CO, this is all the prior thing, provided that where the resolution applicant referred to is ineligible, the resolution applicant shall be allowed by the COC not exceeding 30 days to make payments. So if he was an NPA account, but he has to make good the payments which are due to him, then the COC will allow him, and extension of period will not be allowed. So all this deals with what happens with the resolution plan which is given to the COC. Please go through this. So once the resolution plan is approved, it will be binding on the corporate data and its employees, members, directors, creditors, guarantors. Everyone will be bound by the resolution plan, provided that the adjudicating authority shall, before passing an order, satisfied that the resolution plan will be given by the applicant. First, it will be checked by the RP. Next, it will be checked by the COC. Then the adjudicating authority will also check whether it will be able to be implemented. Once all this is done, the resolution plan is approved, your moratorium will cease, and all the records of the resolution plan will be forwarded to the board. So what happens when the resolution plan is approved? Within 1 year, the resolution applicant should obtain whatever is approval which is needed by it for running the CD, and where it contains a combination as referred to in section 5 of the Competition Act, they have to get approval from there. So what is the format for appeal? Any appeal on the resolution plan will be, it will be given in the regulations. So what can happen for the resolution plan? Non-submission within due date, extension is allowed. Non-submission within due date is that 180 days, the period. Non-submission within due date, no extension is allowed and liquidation will be ordered. If the resolution plan is submitted and approved by the RP, the COC, and filed with the NCLT may approve and order the resolution plan to be implemented. And if it is rejected by the NCLT, then automatically the CD will move into liquidation. So these are all the regulations where the information memorandum is given. The resolution professional has to make a public announcement, make an announcement in the newspaper calling for an expression of interest not later than 75th day from the insolvency commencement date, because people have to know that this company is under CIRP and I can submit a resolution plan. This will be published in Form G, same one English, one regional newspaper with wide circulation on website of CD, on the website of the board, and any other manner as may be decided by the committee. I'll skip this MCQ. Please go through it. Contents of Form G. This is again in the regulations. Please go through it. Like the public announcement, there is the description of all the details which should be given in the EOI. So please go through it. What is going to happen? These after the RFRP, what are all the contents of the resolution plan? What happens after the resolution plan? Transfer of all a part of the assets, sale of all a part of the assets. All these are practical things which we do during the course of the CIRP process when there is a successful resolution plan which has been approved by the NCLT. So what are the mandatory contents? Please go through it. Preservation of records, extension of the resolution process period. Already in section 12, we saw that the 180 days is the period of CIRP. If there is going to be an extension which is made, it will be done only on the basis of the approval of the committee. Now, this is a very, very important section, liability for offences committed prior to CIRP. This was again introduced amended and introduced into the Act 32A based on the problems which were faced by successful resolution applicants. So the applicants had successfully, got their plans approved by the NCLT, and they take over the CD, and then the government departments come and make a claim on the new owner of the corporate for old defaults or old dues or old penalties which happened in the old CD's time. So what happened? This section 32A was introduced. Liability of a CD for an offence committed prior to the commencement of the CIRP process shall cease. So the new owner of the company does not have any liability, cannot be prosecuted for an offence from the date the resolution plan has been approved by the adjudicating authority under section 31. If the resolution plan results in the change in the management or control of the CD to a person who was not, there are certain people who are not there. Please go through this. I don't want to take up too much of time. But the person who was responsible for the conduct of the business or associated with the CD in any manner, who was directly or indirectly involved in the commission of such offence, will be continued to be liable. These are all question points also. Please be thorough with them for the examination. Section 32A, there are some more, it's a very elaborate section. Please go through this because it is trying to plug every kind of loophole with which authorities are trying to make the new owners of the company liable for any penalties or prosecutions for the past actions of the CD. Then you have the initiation of liquidation. If the resolution plan is not going through, it has been rejected by the NCLT, or if the 180-day period is gone, then the liquidation comes in. So, initiation by the AA before the expiry, by the AA is here the adjudicating authority, before the expiry of the CIR period, before the expiry of the 180 days, if there is no resolution plan received under section 30, or if the AA is rejecting the resolution plan for non-compliance of requirements, then liquidation is initiated, or it can be initiated by the RP by communicating to the adjudicating authority that the COC with not less than 66% of voting share has decided to liquidate the CD. The COC feels this company cannot be run any further. What is the point in just hanging on for 180 days? So they take a vote of not less than 66% and tell the RP, please go on within 3 months, within 90 days, 45 days. They can ask the RP to go and apply to the NCLT for liquidation. Or where the approved resolution plan is contravened by the concerned CD. So resolution plan is approved, and after the approval, we saw all the regulations and section 31 where all the requirements of the resolution plan are there. Suppose the approved resolution plan is contravened by the CD or any other person other than the CD, whose interests are prejudicially affected. So any person who feels that this resolution plan has not taken care of me, it can go and make an application to the AA for a liquidation order. So I have completed this. I know I went a little fast sometimes. I'm very sorry. Excuse me for that. The subject is very elaborate.
Elaborate, yes.
Yeah.
More section to cover. And,
Yeah. 3 hours is too short a time.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Really, it's a very excellent presentation and is a marathon. And basically, I also attended in 2017. And when I attended these classes, I don't know what is terminology. My dear friends, my request is first understand the terminology. What is the resolution plan? Who is the resolution applicant? Who is the corporate debtor? Who is the financial creditor? And try to understand the definitions. That is the basic thing which we need to do first. And Madam has done excellent job today. She has covered from base section 4 to section 33. Also, we can say CRP is one of the crucial and important portion in IBC code. Like in the present days, we can say is like home quarantine. Next is hospitalized. The next is
Exactly.
ventilator. See, distressed creditor. See, for example, in simple terms, in my personal language, if I ask me to say, if any person is not paying money, we are approaching them to collect. And if still not filing, then we are going with, if I'm a banker, I'm going with the section 7 to NCLT. Babu, please admit this person is not giving money back. That's the section 7. And 9 and 10. 9 is also operational creditor because I'm a corporate entity and I done some sales to some person. Almost 1 crore rupee worth of sale I have done and I have not received money and he's not giving. And now I'm having a very good option through the IBC. Section 9, simply you can go file application with the NCLT. Try to understand in our own language and try to understand logic behind this. And remaining everything is a procedural oriented. For example, if you take a 17 section 14 moratorium, nobody can touch you till this resolution is done. And coming to resolution plan, madam is saying resolution plan. I'm getting a lot of doubts on the resolution plan. Friends, is nothing but giving your statement or a document. Once if you are interested buyer, you are nothing but resolution applicant, because company is not running properly and we are asking a money is not paying and NCLT has admitted a case, then we are announcing that anybody is interested, please come and take this company. Am I correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Then, for example, if somebody is interested and boss, I want to take this company and I want to run this company, I'll pay the creators like this, and this is the way how I going to deal with this company. That's nothing but a resolution plan. Simply, you are a buyer, you are an interested buyer. You are giving a statement saying that these are the things which I will do after taking this company. I'll pay the creators like this. I'll don't pay 100%. I'll pay 30%. I run company like this, and I'm planning working capital like this. You are giving your plan for purchasing that company. So that's nothing about resolution plan. So entire my discussion is, please try to understand the terminology. Terminology only difficult. If you understand terminology and logic behind the terminology, law is very much easy. It's just procedural oriented. And Madam is rightly said, along with the sections, rules and regulations are very much important. And heart of this IBC code is CRP and very beautifully coded by the madam. Thank you so much. And uh, Santosh.
Sir, tell me, sir.
Yeah, can you share this virtual certificate of appreciation? Ma'am, thank you so much for your presentation, and we are very much grateful from Hyderabad branch. And very much important thing is you are instrumental for designing this entire program. And for that, special thanks from entire Hyderabad managing committee.
Thank you very much.
And
I'm very happy
forward your continuous support. And as a token of thanks, it is small.
No. Thank you very much. This is so nice. Very thoughtful. Very nice. Thank you very much for this.
Because this COVID time, we cannot physically hand it over to you. After everything is settled down, we'll make it
We
And we'll
will-
send you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a pleasure, but the only thing due to paucity of time we couldn't cover. I've
Yes.
also given one small homework for people, so please do that homework and tell me when I come on the next fourth class session.
That's what, ma'am. I try to explain them. See, start read from section 4 to 33, and sections has been elaborately covered. And I think you are taking another session on regulations, ma'am.
Yes, yes,
Then again, this law will be covered.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chairman, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Naresh
Thank you.
garu, thank you so
Devi
much.
sir is also there. Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, friends, we'll meet tomorrow by 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, one more session by 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.